to feel when I want you so. Why are you so cold? When I'm around you, I want to let go. Lost in your eyes when we're moving too close, and the love we found got me upside down. And I'm gonna be with you for as long as you want, for as long as your heartaches gone. But it's a razor's edge we're standing on tonight. In a sharpened state, we fall in love tonight. If you want my love and feel the same as I, it's a razor's edge we're standing on close to a second, we can lose it all. When lights are in motion, we're ready to fall. When I want you so, why are you so cold? 'Cause when I'm around you, I want to let go. Lost in your eyes when we're moving too close, and the love we found got me upside down. And I'm gonna be with you for as long as you want, for as long as your heartaches gone. But it's a razor's edge we're standing on tonight.
And welcome to the SMITE Global Series. Finch here. I have Tolly with me as well. We're taking a look at Southeast Asia in particular. It is week 4. And we're in the final, so it's going to be Loyalty up against Mashu Boys.
That second phase here, it was 4 weeks of long, hard-fought battles here. Mashu Boys with Loyal here in the finals. They're no strangers to facing off against each other here. They faced off against each other in week 3 of phase 2 and the semifinals of phase 1, all favoring Mashu Boys.
Yeah, this is a very storied matchup at this point between these two squads, so no lack of familiarity. Even some of these members here that are formerly used to be on the same roster, Tolly, that Entity Gaming roster that you might remember that actually went to HRX. So this team certainly, or these two teams certainly have a lot of experience, especially with each other between the two of them.
That's true. Just having that international experience can definitely help you out in your own internal region here. That's why Loyal being able to, kind of get far as much as they have been, but it seems that they've been struggling a little bit, at least against Mashu Boys.
And a little bit against Get On My Level here, too, as we see the brackets that they had to fight through here in week 4. It was a 3-game set for Loyal up against Get On My Level. Maybe it means they're a little bit more warmed up. Who knows? Mashu Boys might have a bit of a hard time with them.
It's very true here, as I'm really curious to see how these teams kind of adapted in their picks and bans here, trying to prepare for each other, because this is the 8th week between the 2 phases here, so they definitely have a lot of experience with each other, being able to study each other's games and knowledge, and then just write things down to help them out for the next game.
And this is what I like to see in these sets now, because now we start to see some of those targeted bans coming out. This is what we start to see forcing you down into maybe your 3rd, 4th pick, that sort of thing. So you got to make sure that even your C strategy and your D strategy are strong when you're going against teams that know you this well, the way that Loyal and Mashu Boys know each other. They have just been battling.
That's true. And despite this being the end here of phase 2, week 4, we're also going to have a different format here for the next coming weeks, and not only just Southeast Asia, but other regions as well.
Yeah, a bit of a change going to be coming the way of the global series, but we'll have plenty of time to get to all that. Picks and bans are just about ready here, Tolly, as we go ahead and move into game 1 between these two teams. I'm already excited to see what kind of changes. Southeast Asia is one of those regions that always seems to be global. The international teams are always different, but Southeast Asia is even more different. I feel like they do their own thing for real.
They're very dynamic with their picks and bans here. They really like to flex a different style between solo, jungle, support. Like you'll see the warriors in their support role, which is common every now and then, but in the beginning of the SPL, that's where we really saw the warrior supports. Not so much here in the later stages, where the meta is starting to get a little bit more refined and molded into the perfected form.
It is getting, I agree, they're sort of coming into their own is what I would say here now as we get towards the end of this second phase. Really, we are at the final stage of it. We're fighting for not just prizing, but you mentioned it earlier there, Totally, that we are going to that league format. So even a little bit of seeding could be up for grabs here, as they're going to go to a qualifying stage first for that league format. So being at the top place could potentially mean you have a slightly easier matchup potentially down the line.
That's very true. And looking at the squads here between these two teams, Loyal specifically has those 2 former Entity members there from Paradiddle and Sur Eclipse.
That's right. Sur Eclipse and Paradiddle were both at HRX. And you mentioned it earlier, having that international competition, and it's not just international competition, it's being able to play on the biggest stage, having the brightest lights on you. Playing under that kind of pressure probably makes getting to play at home under this normal pressure, maybe it feel a little bit easier for you. Maybe it doesn't weigh on your shoulders quite as much after you get to feel those bright lights.
But you can't let that kind of phase you too much. You can't be too comfortable. You have to still be able to be on your A game every single time. Like, yeah, you got the adrenaline from Worlds and whatnot, being at LANs, several international LANs, but even from the comfort of home, you need to know when to step it up.
And that's what they're going to have to do if they want to take down Mashu Boys. It has not been an easy task for them so far, and Loyal feel like the way to get it done, take Thoth off of the table, and I don't blame them. This Thoth pick is so strong right now.
Thoth and Giannis specifically, you got those long-range shots coming, and then also the mobility that these two characters has. Giannis providing it for the team, Thoth for himself. That dash to the wall, just so obnoxious to really catch him down.
Dodgy going to be the next ban for Loyal. Yet another sort of meta ban right now. Dodgy with the Palau can pull anyone in, just burn all your beads and cooldowns. And it's a ton of burst damage, more than you're expecting sometimes.
That's true. It's just something that you gotta really understand the ins and outs of that character, especially all that damage over time from the Dodgy. Speaking of damage over time, Agni, first pick from Loyal, not something that we normally see.
No, I agree. We don't normally see it first picked. I think Agni certainly is strong right now, certainly should be prioritized, but I don't know. Over the likes of the Athena, the Terra, we didn't see banned either. But things, as I said before, kind of a little bit different here in Southeast Asia. It's going to be the Athena Medusa prioritized by Mashu Boys.
I mean, Mashu definitely have a clear-cut strategy when it comes to what they want, right? You get the taunt into the Petrify, Wombo combo kind of set up there, guarantee the stun if they don't have the purification beads, and that's what they're really looking for, that level 5 play in the dual lane.
Geb and Soul going to be the selections now for Loyal, and they already have the Agni, so very likely we're going to be seeing Soul in that Hunter role. I still think Soul is a perfectly strong Hunter right now. Sure, she got touched a bit, but certainly still strong.
And I'm surprised that they elected for the Geb with those 2 picks as opposed to going for a Fafnir. Fafnir with the Soul combination here, you're really going to start stripping away some of these objectives. And on the flip side, though, Mashu Boys, because of how aggressive they probably want to be in the dual lane, they're going to pair that up with the Discordia to amplify that Medusa damage through the Discordia passive.
That's right. Being able to get to the top player damage on the Mashu Boys roster would give a little bit of extra damage the way of Medusa. I am a little bit surprised they've gone with this Geb too, though, to go back to it, Toli. You mentioned it. A lot of the times you see it when you have a comp that you want to try and protect a little bit more, but the Soul and the Agni both relatively safe.
That's true here, but I think that they're afraid really much of the Athena-Medusa combination here. So whoever gets taunted needs to get cleansed, so I think that's the idea.
The Geb Shield will get them right on out of there as Bastet comes in for Mashu Boys. Yet another pick that makes the Geb seem a little bit stronger when Bastet tries to jump onto the backline and do all that damage. A nice Geb Shield to keep him topped off.
And I like the Bastet with how much control Mashu Boys already has. So many times Bastet is picked or another jungler that doesn't have control but has the damage without the rest of the team having the control. But you got the Medusa, Discordia, Athena, and now Terra as well. Plenty of control for Bastet to safely transition into that late game and really pack a punch.
And that late game in particular is where we've seen her really delete characters off the map. So Bastet can be good really at all stages of the game. We'll see how well Mashu Boys can pilot it, as Robin and Sobek going to be the next selections for Loyal. Very likely going to be seeing that Sobek then solo and then Robin in the jungle.
Yes, more than likely. I don't think I've ever seen a Sobek jungle before, even in my ranked or casual games. It's very standard to have Sobek in the solo lane, being able to play super safe and standard here. Has so many different selections of where he could want to go with the build. And great control from both teams here. We were talking about the Athena and the Terra on one side. Well, for Loyal, you got the Sobek and the Geb on the other. And honestly, it's a coin flip to see which team has the better control, because I could take either or, honestly.
And already a little bit of trouble from Minishima trying to get on out of there with the Athena pick. Aggressive play from Loyal. They didn't have all 5 members there, but they pushed up between the 3 of them and almost were able to find it. And Minishima had to get right on out of there. In fact, had to use the sprint early on there, totally.
And I like the idea here, just grouping up as 5, because Loyal wanted to place that ward right at the red buff, making sure that if Mashu Boys was going to make that early rotation here from jungle speed to jungle red, that level 2 dual lane gank wouldn't be necessarily a factor that they have to worry about.
Now they'll have that information with Loyal, with the ward backed up by the red buff, and right in between the lane and the jungle too. So they're very worried or Loyal about perhaps Seoul rotating over early on this Bastet pick to look for damage. Now they'll be able to spot it out. Just about any of the common paths that Seoul would take, they'd be able to see it.
And with the lane spawning now, in about 10 seconds, it'll reach the middle of the lane here. This is where Seoul wants to start boxing, trying to build up that heat a little bit to ensure that they were going to clear the wave a little bit faster here.
Not able to quite get it just yet. Even though the Seoul does have a lot of clear, Geb can kind of struggle in that department. So it looks like things are going to be relatively even in terms of wave pressure, but a little bit aggressive positioning is going to benefit Loyal over there in the dual lane as they force the Aegis to come out from Kamiru. Shockwave going to put a good bit of damage into him as well. And now they have to turn towards Minishima as the blue buff gets defended on the right-hand side.
Stolen away there. The Soul doing a lot of damage, but Athena trading shots, not favoring out the Guardian, but Kamiru with a beautiful spit from the side.
That's going to be a trade over there in the duo lane, but likely going to end up benefiting Kamiru a bit because not only did he get the kill, but he's still alive to continue farming even right now.
That's true. Even though the first blood did go for Kirip, it's still going to favor Kamiru. That experience so impactful here. And what Seal did there was very interesting. He ignored his own blue buff there just to strip away the blue from Jimmy.
Now Jimmy, without that buff, has to try and make it back, or rather, it's going to be Paradiddle who's without it, but Jimmy trying to join him in the solo lane. Sobek, one of those gods in the solo lane that maybe can be okay without the blue buff, but he's not to that ultimate yet. It's still very, very early on. Only level 2 totally, so that mana regen he's famous for, he doesn't have it yet.
That's true. I would say that Sobek, once he hits level 5, will be A-okay without it, but for the first couple of levels, will really struggle without that blue buff. Terra at level 3 can basically fully clear the wave here between crashing into her monolith, changing that heal over time into a damage over time mining field, and then on top of that, you got to the walls as well that you can crush through. So looking like it's going to favor out the one noob where there's no blue buff from Paradiddle.
Going to try and avoid the pressure from one noob in solo. Meanwhile, Kira continuing to getting pushed under tower by the pressure from Kamiru here on the Medusa. You see why that spray is so strong in lane, able to clear the wave and get decent poke onto the Soul all at the same time. The Aegis did have to be used by Kamiru, but Kira didn't use the Purification beads there totally. I don't think beads would have got him away from the danger. It was really just damage that was chasing him down and not so much lockdown. So he'll still have it available if he needs to get away from a taunt. Doesn't use it here, and now comes in the dash. Kamiru Geb shield enough to keep him alive, and the sprint is used as well.
It's almost a double-edged sword to try to body block here for the Soul, because at one point, yeah, you want to block the basic attacks, but then you also got the spray to worry about.
Right.
That's going to extend a little bit past that primary target. And that first blood that happened, Kira wanting to obviously box because he was at 100% heat. Oh, there goes the beads and the dueling.
And that time got him out, but the Geb shield was right behind it, so he would have been cleansed either way. Still, though, safer rather than sorry is Kira. And Geo has to take a trip back to base after being brought very low. Continued pressure here between the Athena and the Medusa in the dual lane for Mashu Boys.
Normally, you can easily save your beads against the Athena, knowing that you have the Geb right around the corner. But if you both get taunted, then you're never going to get that shield, so you have to know the difference.
Suraclips has tons of damage with the Golden Apple. A Discord is going to be coming out because he has Jimmy on the backside. Robin here now to put the hands up against Rampage. Another kill goes the way of Loyal. And give credit to Suraclips. He was 2v1ing for a while and putting out a ton of damage. No way for Mashu Boys to stand in it.
And there was a slight disconnect there because Seal pushed up as if he wanted to play aggressive against this Agni, whereas on the flip side, Rampage was more content about trying to deal with those left side mid harpies,
right.
And that wasn't the same page for those two players.
Yeah, when Seal stepped up, he got smacked in the face by the Flame Wave. That was a big part of why he could not help in the fight once the rotation came in from Jimmy as well and had to leave and ended up being a 2v1 in Loyal's favor because of that free damage Seal took, which, as you pointed out, I think comes down to the lack of communication. It's this tiny domino effect. A couple steps out of line totally can end up meaning a kill.
And that also reminded me of that dual lane phase when Minishima on the Athena was constantly smacking the Soul, whereas Kamiru was so far behind that he was playing the cleanup crew. At least they found the return kill. But in the long run, Mashu Boys definitely need to clean this up if they want to find victories over Loyal.
Rampage did use the Aegis to try and stay alive in that gank in the mid lane as well, or rather in the jungle, but it was not enough. He fell, and Aegis going to be down for another minute and a half plus. So a long while before Rampage is going to have that immunity, or the damage immunity, and nothing, by the way, a CC immunity without the purification beads, really, to try and help him out. An easy gank target if Jimmy wants it.
And Jimmy having a slight edge now over Seal's Bastet, just now having to back to finish off the Warrior Tabby, while already Robin's getting a little bit more farm now. He got level 7 here, still sitting at level 5 is the Seal because of how many times she had to back.
And Suraclips a little bit ahead of Rampage. The jungle mid right now favoring Loyal. You can see it on the experience charts, which are about 1,200 in the lead. And now the blink comes out. Does not find the root, but the damage coming out from Suraclips is plenty good enough. Force trying to take the golden apple away, and now Suraclips is getting dove on by himself. Drops the rain fire, and now finally Jimmy's coming in with the Mystic Rush, but it's too late. Kill already goes the way of Seol, and now with the Defender of Olympus, they can turn things around, and then Jimmy taunt him right back in. Geb shield for a moment, and it's not enough. Minishima finds the last hit.
He found the Cataclysm. The knockup was a little bit too far away, so he's not packing the damage quite yet. Geb making the rotation. Kira not able to do so, not having the mana either there. Yet again, an interesting combination here in the mid lane because Jimmy was holding on to that Mystic Rush for so long, not using it offensively against Rampage, and that Suraclips was straggling so far behind that even the Robin ultimate, by the time he used that defensively trying to save his mid laner's life, it was too late.
And when he initially comes in off the blink, totally, I mean, I think there were a couple things Jimmy could have cleaned up on that gank, because he comes in with the blink and immediately Rampage jumps away, which you almost got to expect, I think, right? And not able to land the root because of that. Got to be a little more patient with it so they can lock Rampage down.
There needs to be more communication between these two players. Agni, being played by Sir Eclipse, needs to look for a bomb stun to force the disengage initially from Rampage,
right?
And then you have the Robin blink in for the cleanup.
Way they are not able to find that initial gank cleanly at all, and it means they end up getting traded out. Now Mashi Boy is looking a little bit more comfortable. Defender of Olympus from Minishima and Seol able to find the kill on the Sir Eclipse. The two of them working together certainly made it happen for them in the mid lane, and Loyal have to back up for a moment. No blink, no ult for Jimmy, so they'll wait a little while.
Not too bad, though, for Sir Eclipse here, though, because he's still on top of the net worth ever so slightly. Being able to finish off that Warlock staff would be a good look for him, despite having to invest a little bit more gold to get the pen boots as opposed to the shoes of focus there. And I like both different styles of builds here. Either way, you're looking for more damage from all those bombs from Sir Eclipse, whereas Rampage is going to be playing more utility, trying to get off more of those strifes for lockdown / madness effect, and allow Seol to pack the damage instead.
And already has some cooldown in his kit, does Rampage, when he's hiding around inside that invisibility, able to, some of the other abilities already on cooldown get sped up a bit. So now, with those cooldown boots, really wants to be shooting off those abilities as often as possible, totally.
You know what the Discordia Strife reminds me of?
I do not.
You know how, like, there's a, like, let's say a little girl playing with 2 dolls, and then she's, like, playing with the 2 dolls, and then she's like, all right, now kiss.
She like, pulls them together.
Yeah, and pulls them together, and then all of a sudden, that's kind of what happened there in the mid lane here, Sir Eclipse and Jimmy just kind of smacking each other.
Well, Aphrodite doesn't get played that much, so if I call it the kiss from now on, or the now kiss, it won't even be confusing.
That's
right?
true.
I can just go for that.
Well, Afro might be in the meta sooner rather than you think.
There we go,
We'll
totally.
see.
Thinking we might be seeing some Afro soon. I like the call. Certainly strong. I mean, especially if she's able to make it to the point where she's later on. No reason not to play her, but Afro not here right now, so don't analyze her potential too hard, but certainly could be strong. Look at this one noob, though. He's electing to go with the Warlock staff. We were just talking about how strong this item was on broadcast yesterday, and we don't see solo laners pick it up that much, but that looks to be the call here from the one noob.
Against Guardian versus Guardian here, it's definitely A-okay. We were talking about how it was Warrior versus Guardian, where Guardians don't really have the time to keep up with the Warrior rotations, but neither one of these two players are going to be rotating anytime soon. They're really making their impact at level 12 once the second relic comes online. And by the time the one noob hits level 12, he'll be sitting at about 40 stacks anyway, so at least he'll be halfway there once teamfights start rolling around.
And I think people might be a little bit caught off guard by some of the damage coming out from the one noob on this too, especially if he elects for like a Void Stone later on. This Terra could not just be providing some control, but a little bit more damage than might be expected from Loyal. Had to remain mindful of exactly where one noob is going on this build path.
This is not how you want to take damage in the mid lane there. Yeah, you want to clear the wave. Now, I understand that Agni used those 2 bombs over the wall trying to steal those mid harpies, so you're not going to have the bombs for the mid wave to clear safely, but don't walk up to get scratched by the Bastet. You're going to eventually get into a trickle-down effect where, you know, that one scratch deals 25%, and then all of a sudden, Bastet, seeing a mid laner at 75% health, will just 100-0 you, especially if there's a defender of Olympus on top of her.
Gotta make sure you're being careful for it in that mid lane. And right now, Sir Eclipse kind of taking a little bit more poke than you might want. He is electing for Warlock staff himself as Jimmy goes in for the blink, isn't able to land the root yet again. And Rampage very calmly able to just back right off. Jimmy, yet another unsuccessful gank onto this Discordia.
This time it was the opposite effect, where it was the Robin initiating and forcing the disengage, but then the Agni bomb stun happened a little bit too early. Needed to cover more distance to guarantee the stun, and Rampage taking way more damage than he wanted.
Wow, even when the gank doesn't work out, Agni damage is no joke in the mid lane. And he controls so much space around him that it's difficult to figure out exactly where you can stand to get your own abilities off. Forced to dash, and uses the Aegis, huge win, as Rampage had to use it just to make sure he didn't get hit by the rain fire.
He was afraid that I think the damage over time with the passive would have done the trick. I don't think it would have killed him outright without that passive, but it would have been really close here. Sitting at level 10 at the time, this Agni Bomb does a decent amount of damage.
Even had to back off of that, so he's going to be back to full is Rampage as he rotates back into the lane now. Had some of those minions pushed underneath the tower, So again, a bit more of a win for Sir Eclipse. Even if the ganks aren't working out, this Agni in lane certainly seems to be doing well for the Loyal squad rather. Eclipse is really showing what Agni can do.
So we've been talking about the mid and jungle for quite a long time here, Finch, but something more interesting about these junglers is in their builds, the different styles here. Crusher from Jimmy, whereas Seal opting for that Transcendence in the jungle. We don't normally see a lot of stacking items in the jungle simply because you're trying to find the ganks off, so there's some power curves where it might not favor you. But by going Transcendence on Bastet, you're getting the best of all the worlds. Her scaling is very high.
Yes.
She really relies on those abilities, and Crusher relies on more physical power, so you might as well build that up with Transcendence and then get the Crusher.
Going to be a ton of damage that we'll be seeing Seal put out now. Tries to come grab these Harpies. Jimmy's here, but not in time. Now trying to make the escape, but running right into Paradiddle, who's going to start lurking in the waters to slow him down. Sir Eclipse here as well. The stun lands, but the Aegis immunes a lot of the damage, with Defender of Olympus helping to mitigate. Now Seal can make for the escape. Rainfire ticks again, but it's just not enough damage. Taunts them back in. They've aggroed the Fire Giant, and the damage is almost enough. Geb Shield comes out, though, to keep them alive from Geo.
The Stripe was good to pull into for the moment here, but not having the Golden Apple when he really wanted it there. That Fire Giant knockup, I think, hit 3 members of Loyal. So unfortunate that they couldn't seal the fate of Seal. That Defender of Olympus and the Aegis buying her more than 9 lives for that one.
And I was going to point out, none of them have beads on the side of Mashu Boys. It's 3 Aegises for their squishier ones between Seal, Rampage, and Kamiru. They are not worried about the control from Loyal, and we just saw why. It's just to immune the damage and get them long enough to get out.
Well, for now, they don't have to worry about it, but once Geb hits level 12, if he gets a Blink, then you're definitely going to have to worry about that Blink Cataclysm knockup, especially once Paradiddle makes these rotations happen here. Sitting at level 13, can definitely do so once he finishes off the Breastplate of Valor. He'll be sitting at about 30% cooldown reduction and looking for those plucks very consistently.
That's the question you have to ask yourself, Tolly, in the early game. What are we worried about more? Is it the burst damage, or is it the control? Early on, it's not going to be the control, but now that they're hitting that level 12 mark, we are seeing those beats come out when Mr. Paradiddle and, as you said, Geo are more likely to be in these fights. So far, whenever Geo shows up, all he's really been able to do is throw out a couple of Geb shields. He hasn't really had a chance to try and control the fight, so far, Mashu Boys have not been punished.
That's kind of his job, honestly, in the early game portion, where he's trying to help Kirup get out of the early laning phase, opting to upgrade his sprint. Didn't really pan out for too much of a kill offensively. When he used his sprint, it was used defensively, usually to run away more often than not, but it still allows the Soul in a good spot here. Both Hunters sitting at level 12. They got the items that they really want. You got Bancrofts on one side, and then you got fully stacked Devils on the other.
Seoul had to jump away after trying to pressure Eclipse. Chance for a collapse, but Seoul recognized it. Actually comes back in, looking for more damage. Maybe not realizing that there's a ton of Loyal members here. Has his own entourage rolling up. Does Mashu Boys, they're not going to be able to find anything, but lurking in the waters comes out. Paradiddle, a little bit more worried about the pressure, I think, than deserved.
He tried to go for the pluck there onto Seal. He missed, and then he saw the one Noob's Terra right around the corner. Didn't want to get stunned, I guess, with all these shenanigans there. But if you're going to use your ultimate from lurking in the water, at least wait for maybe the kitties to be used, so that way you're going to be able to disengage from that one. Because you can't get body blocked from lurking in the water. You can get blocked by walls and whatnot, but not by player deployables, not by gods, not by minions. So you're able to really get through that, even if you found that perfect triangular block.
Another important cooldown going to be down for a little bit for Mr. Paradiddle, but he does have the shoes, or the cooldown boots rather, so he'll be okay. Getting that ultimate back up sooner rather than later, and not really letting me looking for much action in the meantime anyway, so no big loss. Even has the Breastplate of Valor finished off now, so tons of cooldown going to be available for this Sobek, and he'll be using the plucks, tail whips, and lurking in the waters very, very often.
This is the second time right now that Paradiddle didn't buy the relic after leaving the fountain after level 12. I think he's purposely saving it on for this point, just to see if maybe Kamiru's going to go for crit. If he goes into crit, okay, I'm going to pick up Thorns. If he doesn't go for crit, then maybe go for another team fighting relic here. Maybe Geo needs to discuss with Paradiddle what they want to do, because they definitely still need a shell in the late game here to absorb a lot of the bleeding coming from Seals.
And I like this. If they're not going to be the aggressors, let's hold that thought. Seal is going to jump in, force Eclipse to dash away. Still looking for a little bit more damage onto Geo, but Not really anything much there to find. Now it's Jimmy who's blinking in. No immediate follow-up forward. Uses the hands to get the slowest striped. Cataclysm comes out as well, but uses the Golden Apple of Discord to make sure it does not get controlled. Defender of Olympus being channeled as well. Now Earth and Fury comes out. Geo is the one that ends up falling. First kill. This fight goes the way of the one noob. On the backside, now the rotation's coming in from the dual lane as well. Kirip is here, but gets taunted right back into the Petrify. Too much damage coming his way.
A lot of damage coming from the bombs from Eclipse as well, deterring Macho Boys from chasing. Hold that thought. One
double strike
is going in.
Rampage coming up big for Mashu Boys in that fight, finding them underneath the tier 1 tower. Now with all 5 members strong, they can choose to continue pressuring or even turn towards the Gold Fury. Only Eclipse and Paradiddle alive here for the next few seconds. We'll soon see Geo respawn back in, but it's a long walk back to the Gold Fury, and it's already under siege.
They should be able to get this all safe and nilly, considering that Paradiddle is so low. The dash taunt not on the mark to the Sobek here. Zoning away nice and far away to allow the remaining members from Mashu Boys to confirm the first Gold Fury 17 minutes in.
Well earned there by Mashu Boys in that fight in the middle lane. And remember, they started with a little bit of poke from Seol that he was able to try and get onto Geo, onto Eclipse. It wasn't much. Then Jimmy blinks back in Toli and doesn't really find much of anything. And the rest of the fight goes Mashu Boys way after that.
He tried to find the Cataclysm. Oh, hold that thought though, because Seol is getting caught in the jungle by Eclipse. Will fall to the last remaining bomb though.
Sir Eclipse may have missed the second one, but was not going to miss the third once Seol committed to coming into melee range, drops the bomb at his feet, burns him down, but ends up losing his life in return. And totally, jungler falling for mid laner there in that fight.
It's going to favor both sides, honestly. Jimmy will play catch up a little bit here, and Rampage is going to try to extend his advantage a little bit further here. So a double-edged sword here. Loyal still not behind too much despite losing that last Gold Fury. That was the first team fight I think we saw since the level 1 grouping that they did before the minions even spawned.
Certainly, I agree. Like the first true team fight is Rampage, very pressured here in the mid lane. Gets to the Defender of Olympus and the Golden Apple of Discord. Jimmy not going to be able to find the kill, but they get 2 important cooldowns out from Mashu Boys.
There's such a thing as called too much patience. They're holding on to the Mystic Rush, not using it here onto Rampage. There was a small window where the Mystic Rush could have happened during the Golden Apple because you can't Aegis during that animation. Now, even though Beads and Aegis was up from Rampage, he held on to those relics, and that was a slightly missed opportunity from Jimmy to find a kill.
Not going to be able to find that kill, but Loyal are looking to try and find the Pyromancer. Mashu Boys know that this is happening and are making the rotation. Loyal have to drop it. Some pings even coming out. Mashu Boys have now forced Loyal to back off. I do want to talk a little bit about it, though. Paradiddle still has not decided where to go with that second relic, and I think I like this. If Paradiddle's not going to be the aggressor, Toli, why not wait and see if Kamiru commits to a build first?
That's true. You can even go, like, crazy and go like Belt of Frenzy, like if his team wants their damage here. Late game Agni, late game Soul definitely does quite a bit here. I'm curious to see if anyone from Loyal is going to go for that Shogun's Kusari, trying to get this Soul a little bit more online here. Surprising to see Kirip, though, now invest into that Warlock staff after the Bancroft's talent, taking a long time to really finish those stacks, sitting at level 36 or 36 stacks compared to every other mage that has the Warlock staff, or Guardian rather, almost completed.
Going to be a good bit behind everyone else in terms of stacks. Looks like right along with everyone else in terms of pen. The 4th item pen isn't going to be too big a deal, as everyone else has elected to put a little bit later in their builds, like with Eclipse and Rampage too. But that'll be the next item that Kirip's going to be working on. Speaking of these mage builds, Rampage has elected for a ton of cooldown here, Totally. The Chronos Pendant and the cooldown boots, plus just what's innately in his kit. Going to have those abilities up all the time. As Rainfire's committed, trying to take away those oracles. Unsuccessful. Mashu Boys grab.
And I like the fact that you mentioned the cooldown reduction here for these mid-mages here. Not just Rampage, but also Chronos Pendant for Sir Eclipse.
Yeah.
Those bombs already do quite a bit of damage, so having them up more often means that those jungle fights going to go the way of Loyal a little bit further if they could just find the vision here. But against Mashu Boys, for Chalice of the Oracles, it's difficult to position yourself against the Chaos Squad here.
Is this too much cooldown? I mean, Mage's Blessing, the boots, Chronos Pendant, and the Chronos Pendant passive. Is he getting the benefit of all of that? Or?
So the way Chronos Pendant works is the passive doesn't officially count for 10% cooldown reduction. So officially, Rampage has 40% cooldown reduction. You get 10 from Mage's Blessing Evolution, 10 from Shoes of Focus, 20 from Chronos Pendant, and then you got the passive, which is like a pseudo 10%, but not officially.
It's a little bit of extra that you get to have with that Chronos Pendant. So Rampage making sure that he maximizes the cooldown and going to be feeling it, is loyal in these fights. I mean, these strifes, that's what I think really sealed the team fight for him, is the dash catches on the back in. That's going to get Purification Beads and the Geb Shield. Now Jimmy has to force to retreat. Huge play from Minishima there in the mid lane to take the beads away from Eclipse.
Needs to trust his Geb support. He was right around the corner. Still invested into not only the beads use, but the Aegis as well.
That's
and
huge.
Masha boys need to keep those two timers in the back of their mind for this next engagement, that Sir Eclipse is the primary target.
Cataclysm comes out. They're going for the engage. Earth and Fury is here by the way of the one noob, and Loyal have got to retreat, but nowhere for Geo to run. Golden Lap on the Discord on top of him. Stun comes in from Sir Eclipse as well, but they are not done chasing. One noob continuing to hunt him down, but unable to find him. Back underneath the tier 1, it's Minishima who's in trouble. Jimmy finds the last hit, a little bit of help from the Supernova. Mashi boys are forced on the retreat after not being able to find Geo.
Not able to find the Geb support does not surprise me. One noob gonna get stunned down. Seal jumping in, doing a lot of damage, jumps back out there, doing a great work, trading 1-for-1 at the very least.
Strife yet again gonna hit 2 members. Rampage has been on fire with them so far in these team fights. Kamiru now here drops the ultimate, not gonna stun anyone out, but at least forces the rest of Loyal back. Too much of a commitment, though, Toli, in that last fight onto the Geb.
So that's one of the problems here for Masha boys. The second was that Kamiru wasn't involved in the fight to start things off there.
Right.
Now, even though you got a character very low, you don't have to chase him down till the end of the world, let alone a Geb. What is the Geb going to do with 2% health? Literally nothing here.
Gold Fury going the way of Mashi boys. Now they continue for the fight as well. Paradiddle forced to continue to retreat. Mashi boys are not going to keep chasing them. This time they are going to be a little bit more restrained and pull back up. They got what they wanted. I mean, they got the fight. Well, they didn't win the fight as it ended up being pretty even, but they did get the Gold Fury. Now they have for themselves a 7,000 experience lead, 5,200 gold, and the taunt once again coming out from Minishima. Tier 1 tower crumbles to the ground as well. And Masha boys back off.
Geb Shield right around the corner, really saving the life of his mid laner. Geo has been on point with these two past Geb Shields, but left lane is exposed for the moment here as Kirip is looking for that split push opportunity, while the rest of Masha boys are gonna go for the Pyromancer.
They gotta find something, as the Pyromancer is gonna go Mashu's way. Already the rollout has been used now from Geno. Cataclysm hits nothing. It is gonna get him out of there. Not gonna catch any gods, but at least get him away from the damage from Seol. And now Mashi boys, after getting the Pyromancer, getting the Gold Fury, the Tier 1 tower, and the fight, can finally back up.
Seal's been doing a great job just baiting people in bad spots. Whenever he pounces in, and then all of a sudden, here comes a Geb Cataclysm. Oh wait, I'm already in the middle of my flight return home. Getting that round trip ticket back home, and I like his build as well, actually. Switching things up, not going for the Crusher right away, getting the Oncule first, making sure that if he does get cataclysmed or knocked up by Geo, that he wouldn't get followed up with the other.
Pluck is going to land. It's going to bring one noob back. Should be okay. Has the dash and even has the rotation coming over from Seol as well, so no trouble. In fact, they're going to put a good bit of poke here into Seol. Even the Defender of Olympus committed. They definitely want to chase this. Not going to be able to taunt him back now that he's lurking in the waters, but the Cats, they're not afraid to swim as they put in a little bit more damage on the Paradiddle. Now the Tier 1 tower and Solo is going to get pressured. They should even up the Tier 1 they lost in duo.
Another 500 gold in the pocket of Masha boys, extending their lead to about 6,000 gold here in the first game of the best of 3 set. A lot of action now from Masha boys. They're feeling confident to go in here with the control that they have. One noob having the sustain that they really need on his monoliths to extend these team fights.
I tell you, look at all these Oracle Chalices.
Yeah,
this is a lot, right?
It's 4 on one side, 2 on the other.
Well, I mean, it's a lot on one team. Do Masha boys need 4 of them? I mean, more expensive now, right? I mean,
that's true.
Still worth to invest.
Despite going from 3 to 400 gold, you know, if we look at the wards placed here, 16 from Rampage. It takes 8 to go net neutral here from the 400 gold cost.
Already, Kirip's in a lot of trouble. Soul is the one that finds it. The 2-man gank in duo. is enough to punish the soul before Kirip can even use the beads or the Aegis. Those will still be available when he comes back, but he's sitting out for another 45+ seconds.
It's looking really good here from Mashu Boys. Finding the picks wherever they go. Doesn't matter if it's mid, solo, dual lane. They're finding them. Rampage going to get stunned out here, but it's just a bait here because Seal is looking to clean up. He knows Eclipse doesn't have the dash, and Eclipse with the mindset to rotate in this jungle. Actually, I don't think he knew that he was getting chased down.
No, the Agni Bomb and the dash, those are down. Gets taunted right back in. Golden Lap, but the Discord is there, but he's going to be able to survive for now as he tries to find the retreat. Going to cut that path off. It's going to be Kamiru, but he gets controlled yet again. Now he's trapped between four. Lurking in the waters is there as well. Aegis keeps him alive. Now the Earth and Fury going to help swing this fight around. Jimmy goes up and right back down, but pays for it with his life. Double kill is going to come out for the best at player. Mashu Boys again win the fight, and now a defender of Olympus. It's a triple. Seal's able to chase down Sir Eclipse as well.
Doing a great job abusing the fact that Kirip was dead that entire time, just now reviving. And with that 5-on-4 team fight, finding 3 additional picks at the cost of your Hunter might be a little tricky to confirm the Fire Giant without the damage from your Medusa, but this tier 2 tower could be looking mighty tasty here, but I think Discordia had some back there. Rampage was a little too low for his own good. And honestly, everybody just grouped up really hard there against everyone. The Mystic Rush sealing the fate of Kamiru, also allowing the bombs to be raining from Sir Eclipse. He survived with like 1% health. Literally everything in the book had to be used to save him between the sprint and the shell and the Geb Shield from Geo, his own 2 defensive relics. It bought enough time to at least find the return kill onto Kamiru.
In the end, that was all that it was going to buy for this loyal roster as they end up dropping Paradiddle, Jimmy, and Sir Eclipse. Only Kamiru falls, but you're right, it was an important kill for them to get, totally, because what else gets taken off the map at the end of that fight? Nothing really. I mean, the Fire Giant was up, there was no Pyromancer, there was no Gold Fury, but they couldn't do fire, they couldn't take the tier 2 tower, so they lose the fight, but it's not as bad as it could have been.
I'm surprised though that they don't even attempt to go for Fire Giant with how much vision they have on the right side of the map.
Look and all those oracles, look at them!
That's right, there's so many here. Dash aggressively by Sir Eclipse, though. This Bastet barely surviving.
Does drop the cast, but all the while space created for Gold Fury to go the way of Mashu Boys. I'm sure that Seal would have liked to be able to zone them away without having to pay quite that hefty of a price, but is going to be okay. Oh, we'll be back up before you know.
This is where the damage from Agni really shines. Sitting at 5 items here. Still has that 6 slot to see where he wants to go. The Soul Gem giving him another 10% cooldown reduction as he finds multiple stuns here. Still so difficult to hit that Discordia in that cloud. Jimmy not making an impact here against the Discordia.
Yeah, these gank attempts have not gone well for him. I do want to check back in on Paradiddle, who did elect for the Shell. Kamiru has elected for the attack speed pen build, it looks like, so the Shell will do just fine up against that. Not going to need the Thorns as much as you might with a crit build, but they are going to need his presence as the Pyromancer has been pulled now. Mashu Boy is at least looking at it, but a show of face from Loyo make them drop it.
A nice little sentry ward here from Sir Eclipse, being able to identify Seal is looking for that flank right around the corner here. They even spot out another ward just out of range from that initial sentry ward.
Dashing his Paradiddle, but he cannot find the pluck. Gets taunted or right back into the damage from the rest of Mashu Boys. Golden Apple of Discord is going to be down, and Rampage takes a bunch of poke from Sir Eclipse. Meanwhile, Jimmy takes a bunch of poke in the mid lane. So he's going to have to back as well, or at least consider it, as Pyromancer's looked at again by Mashu Boys. Seal going to force Sir Eclipse away, while the rest of the fight happens on the Pyromancer side. Taunt is going to control Geo for the moment. Pyromancer still not taken, and his Soul Ultimate's dropped down. That's enough. Loyal take the objective, and now Geo has to continue to run, but over the top comes Seal, and the Petrify comes out from Kamiru. 2 big kills already for Mashu Boys. Defender of Olympus is down. It's 5v3.
Eclipse died during his dash. He didn't even have time to use the Aegis afterwards. They are just taking too much bleeding. He got hit by the Petrify, and with Geo dead, there was nobody to really cleanse him, so he had to use the beads on his own. But look at this, Jimmy getting spotted. He actually blinks through the action. Mystic Rush finds through. Aegis buying the Medusa just a moment here, and I think he's going to live.
The Medusa is going to live. Kamiru's out of there. Paradiddle comes up to try and create an escape path for Jimmy. Fire Giant still stands, so does Kamiru. So even though almost able to find the kill, more importantly, Jimmy gets them to drop the objective. Yet again, not much comes off of of the win of the fight when you consider Loyal actually took the Pyromancer for themselves.
That's true. That was a great little steal. I think that was actually Kirup's Supernova that was used on the objective. And keep in mind that that doesn't only do damage here. When you get hit by that first tick of it, you're going to get knocked up. And that one little bit of a knock-up can disrupt your DPS from finding the objective secure.
Able to steal that away was Kirup, or rather, his ultimate was there at the last second, so certainly he could have been a part of it. Those choke points, though, the choke points on the map, that's really starting to hurt Loyal when they're trying to fight up against Kamiru in particular. The Petrify came through. Not only it stunned all 5 members or anything like that, but the damage is going to hit everybody in that particular narrow pathway right there and set up Seal to jump over the wall.
That's true. Not only just for Kira, but also Eclipse with those bomb stuns. All these narrow passageways just like that. Medusa already less than half health.
And Jimmy is low on the backside as well. Kamiru forced to retreat, but Jimmy's already down. At least making it 1-for-1 is Paradiddle. He takes down Kamiru. Supernova's dropped at his feet, but that's not enough to deter Seol. Dashing aggressively now, comes out from Sir Eclipse, and the rest of Mashi Boys are here in tow. Taunt back in Geo into the damage. Not going to be enough to finish it off, but they're going to dash in. Is Minishima. Geo is going to escape on the right-hand side. No more kills going to come from it. Mashi Boys lose Kamiru, but Loyal lose Jimmy.
I think this definitely favors out Loyal, though, because that's a big portion of the DPS stripped away. Nice stun here onto Minishima, but not going to follow up quite yet. Still a little low here is Loyal. And considering they've been down a majority of this game, ever since the first goal here they lost at the 17-minute mark, they've been holding their own for the next 15 minutes, just kind of staggering the losses, making sure that the bleeding wasn't going to be too heavy, holding on to their very important tier 2 towers, and with everyone level 20 minus the supports, this is basically a winnable fight for Loyal at any given moment.
Yeah, they've really managed to slow this one down, and it's come down to, as you pointed out, getting a couple picks onto Kamiru to limit what Mashi Boys could do at the end of fights, and not losing them by too much. At least 2 members are getting away. Maybe 3 members from Loyal are getting away, and always trying to take something from Mashi Boys too. They have not been able to cleanly get a fire or some structures on the back of these fights.
And something that Kirup is doing, which I really like, is the Typhon's Fang pickup as the last slot, well, right before the Hunter's Blessing gets sold. Because of how much damage that is almost guaranteed from Seal, you can't really get away from that in time from your Disapparate. So you might as well go look for something to lifesteal off of. Look for a back camp, look for a buff, and between the Bancrofts and the Typhon's Fang, all those mage ADCs will get back in about 5 basic attacks. They'll be almost full health.
We're talking about some of the magic damage they want to do. Seol really wants to disrupt it, has the Ankile, so when he jumps in and get hit by that first tick of damage, either onto Kirup or Eclipse, it's going to be real disruptive for him.
And it's not only going to affect Sir Eclipse or Kirup, but anyone else that might be around him. Keep in mind that Geo definitely going to be looking for those shields, but if he gets silenced by a random Ankile, that could be the difference of life or death for anyone from Loyal.
It definitely looks like a Seal's plan is to get back there and just be a nuisance for this Loyal roster, and he's done it so far. 9-1-3. Tell it louder for the folks at home. Seal having a great game on this Bastet so far.
Oh, so this is what I was talking about here. He got hit by the kitties, the scratchies, and then all of a sudden going from 50% health all the way back to up to 80.
A ton of life steal in that build for Kirup. Going to help keep him sustained. A lot of damage going Seol's way. He's going to have to back up now.
He could have also played it a little bit more carefully by resetting those back harpies every now and then, really maximizing the lifesteal.
Taunt comes out in Paradiddle, but the Geb Shield keeps him alive, lurking in the waters. Still drops down the Cat Call, though, onto Jimmy to keep him from aggressing. Now going to jump in with the Pounce and continue to look for more. Jimmy is forced to retreat. Meanwhile, on the top side of the fight, Petrify comes out. Kamiru's been great with those so far. Stun is going to land. Minishima can't keep chasing, but all the way back on the backside, Seol is able to find Geo. First kill of the fight goes the way of Mashi Boys, and they continue to pressure. Root going to come out to try and lock down Sir Eclipse.
The taunt as well, followed up here. Jump over the wall here, trying to catch the Sobek. Will find the Scratchies and the long distance 3.
They have not been able to answer this Bastet, and the woes are going to continue now for Sir Eclipse in the mid lane. Rampage finds that taunt. Not going to land from Minishima, but they do not even need it. Pyromancer ends up going the way of Mashi Boys, and they can finally start looking towards the big late-game objective. The Fire Giant could potentially be going the way of Mashi Boys here, but no, they are all going to back. Still don't feel comfortable going for this objective.
And it's interesting, though. I guess that you know that Kirub didn't use the Supernova, and considering that he stole away the Pyromancer the last time around, they don't want to risk anything fishy around there until all 5 members are super healthy. But with a 5-on-3 advantage, this is definitely crystal clear. Like, this objective is Mashu Boys for the taking, especially once they hear this Gold Fury being secured.
Kirub is going to be able to grab this, not any trouble, but Mashi Boys could care less about that. They are finally ready to take the Fire Giants. It looks like Gio is at least going to be in the neighborhood, so he'll have a front row seat to the Fire Giant being stripped away. Not even going to get those nice seats. Might have to go to the nosebleeds as they force him back. Fire Giant now at about half health. Gold Fury still getting chipped away. So Kirub is committed to at least getting that, and now Mashi Boys know this is as free as they come. Fire Giant is theirs.
36 minutes in, Masha Boys with a pretty comfortable lead, but the gold lead doesn't really matter considering that Loyal is nearing that 6th gold item slots here, and everyone's level 20 anyway. It's all about the defense at the Phoenixes, and Agni is pretty good at that, being able to hug those walls right around the corner with the bomb stuns. Masha Boys needs to keep that in the back of their mind where Star Eclipse is, and they see him in the mid lane.
Yeah, and Seol's the one they're sending to try and track him down. Meanwhile, Paradiddle has already been tremendously chunked. Gold Apple, the Discord is gonna do it. Rampage takes down the Crocodile already. Petrify comes through. Not much damage for it this time. Chimera using it defensively. Cataclysm gonna be down from Gio as well. Mashi Boys regroup and heal underneath the monolith.
And this is where Eclipse is gonna hide every single time, dropping the bombs right around the corner. I like the fact that the Earth and Fury was used by the one noob during that apple.
Dash in, taunt, 2-man stun coming out from one noob as well. But the damage instead is going on to Kamiru. Jimmy all ins him on the backside, is able to survive thanks to the shell. And instead they'll turn their attention towards Gio, who's about half health. He'll be fine. Mashi Boys again are not able to get any damage onto the Phoenix. Jimmy doing a good job pressuring out Kamiru.
They can't find it quite yet. It's because Star Eclipse, man. He does so much damage from a distance there. The dash taunt onto the Geb. Gonna shield himself, actually, right in the nick of time there. But tier 2 towers were stripped away, making the Titan a little bit more vulnerable once the Phoenix does expose him.
Again, 5 members now pushing into the mid Phoenix. Things didn't go so well on the right-hand side, so they're going to give it, looks like, yet another try. They pushed up the wave in the mid lane. They are going to group around the solo side Phoenix this time, and hopefully they can do something about Sir Eclipse and Jimmy, who have been making this such a nightmare for him.
Well, this is a 5-on-5 now. Paradiddle has revived. 2 minutes remaining with the Fire Giant buff around the waist. They're really relying on this Athena dash taunt and the stripes around the walls.
Jumping in this time, it's going to be Seol, and he's putting a ton of damage into Sir Eclipse. He's already done. Now with the Earth and Fury hitting just about everyone, Mashu Boys can continue to push. Gio forced to retreat with the rollout. Defender of Olympus putting damage into Paradiddle and Jimmy. Jimmy could be the next target for them. He's forced to try and find the way out, but there's too many slows, too much control, and Rampage takes him down. 5v3 now as they barrel into the Titan room.
2 clean picks. Masha Boys looking to seal the fate of Loyal in game number 1 of this best of 3 set. Seal securing the deal of 3 dead Loyal members here. Titan less than half health.
Now with the Titan down to 25% HP, what can stop Mashi Boys at this point? The answer is nothing. Seol continues to dominate for Mashi Boys on the Bastet as they take game 1.
And let me tell you something. I was watching that little 1v1 skirmish here between Seal and Eclipse. Once he got hit by the bomb, the Ankile passive got through, and then all of a sudden, Sir Eclipse didn't anticipate that silence, didn't even use the beads, didn't get the dash off, and he just instantly died.
There was nothing to do to get away from him. The Ankile, again, coming up big. Would have been a very similar story, I imagine, if he dived onto the Soul as well. Yep. That was the plan. Going to the back line, especially with Agni, if he drops the cloud at his own foot and that tick hits, I mean, anything like that would proc the passive and set up the kill there for the jungler.
Just a great opportunity for Seal and the rest of Masha Boys to find that kill, find the Phoenix, and then find the game. It took a little bit of time, but they did it very cleanly at the end there. It took about 17 minutes to get the first Gold Fury, about 36 to get the first Fire Giant. Very methodical, I think, Masha Boys is for that first game, and for good reason. They have a lot of experience winning these games here in the global series here. They won the first phase, actually, entirely, and they beat Loyal several times throughout the first phase and the second.
Well, Loyal has certainly earned some respect in the eyes of Masha Boys. They play it patiently, but picks and bans are ready now. We're going into game 2 rather. This could potentially go to a game 3 set, but Masha Boys, they continue to play that cleanly. We might not even get a chance to see it here, but Loyal, they dragged out the middle of that game totally.
they did a great job just mitigating a lot of that bleeding here.
Right.
It was Sir Eclipse from a distance there, also Kirup making the impact with the Soul Agni there, which they drafted pretty early on there. It really showed as to why that the Agni was so heavily prioritized. He was playing aggressive in the beginning of the game there. He almost found the kill, I believe, onto the Discordia during the Aegis there, but it was Jimmy that found the cleanup afterwards.
Let's see if they ban away. I'm curious to see if they want to take that Bastet away after how well Seal was able to play it all game long. I mean, it was the one finishing off all the kills, the one doing all the damage, diving the backline. I don't know if they're going to prioritize that. And remember, this loyal roster, man, they got a lot of experience.
That's true. The thing is, if you ban Bastet, you're leaving so many other junglers open to the table. Bastet is not one of these jungler bans that comes to mind that's like, we lost because of Bastet? I mean, if you look at the scoreline, they kind of lost because of Bastet, if you think about it just off of that alone. But if you actually watch the game there, I think it was the one noob's Terra that was really a big deal.
Those Earth and Furies were hitting almost the entire team fight every time they used it because of how clumped up everyone was. That hits all 10 members potentially if you're able to play it perfectly, and one noob did a great job of it. Already, though, we're seeing a little bit of difference is Giannis going to be the selection here for Loyal, and the dodgy Cerberus selected for Mashi.
Loyal mixing things up there. At first, it was them banning away the Giannis Thoth. They left one of those open here, making sure that they ban Terra away from one noob, so they get a lot of mobility here from the Giannis. They still get the safety here from the Geb, and with Athena banned, they don't have to worry about those dash taunts.
That's another thing that we weren't giving enough credit to, but the Athena was being played very, very well in that game. Those taunts, burning those beads to set up a little bit easier for maybe the rest of the team to come in and find control.
And also the Defender of Olympus's being able to engage with the Bastet. That Wombo combo does a lot of damage if you're able to find it in the late game.
Cupid.
Yeah.
Why?
Cripple. Cripple's pretty good.
So is all the other hunters I can think
Well,
of.
if you think about it, though, Giannis Portal's really annoying to deal with.
Sure,
if you're crippled, you can't go through it. I think that's the mindset.
Sure, so maybe it's like an answer to try and find a way to shut down this Giannis pick as was first selected. Okay, I certainly can buy that one totally. The cripple field very strong. They're going to definitely need to get off to a strong start, though. It looks like a Cupid Amir duo lane. Kind of an old school duo lane between these two. So if they can get the lockdown, they have plenty of it, then they can certainly cause problems for Loyal.
A lot of damage with that too, honestly, even between the lockdown that they have, the slows as well, whether or not you get the stun from the heart bomb. You're getting the ice carpet from the Ymir, the frostbite passive as well, amplifying his basic attacks by 100%. That Ymir is going to be hitting for like 80 damage per shot after the frostbite.
Well, let's see if they can get off to as good of a game as they did in game one for Mashi Boys as we get ready to head into game two. We talked a lot about this Cupid Amir for Mashi Boys, but I mean the ROM have been selected over there for Loyal, and we've seen the likes of Cyclone Spin kind of comes to mind lately. And you think about how well this ROM has been played, so certainly the opportunity is there for Kirup instead of the Soul here this game.
It's all about the late game for a lot of these hunters here. Last game it was the Medusa and the Soul, both of them making a statement here and there, and I think the ROM can definitely do so as well, considering that Star Eclipse is playing the Giannis here. It's going to allow Jimmy to take those portals offensively to find the cleanup kills. And, oh, if Jimmy can't find them, well, you got the long-range snipes from Kirup.
To try and finish them off. Paradiddle playing the Geb solo. So you might have thought it might have been the Sobek going over to the Soul lane, but instead it is going to be Paradiddle who's taking the Geb over there. This is not entirely unheard of, seeing this Geb over in the Soul lane. It does have decent damage. Oh, and I assumed it was going to be Cerberus in the Soul lane as well. So both these Soul lane matchups were not quite the way I anticipated. These double Guardians, man, they can go anywhere. So it's going to be an Amir Geb. So it's a matchup that's old, right? Geb and Amir, but maybe not in the solo lane. You're used to more seeing them in the duo lane.
That's true. Sobek and Ymir in the Soul lane would be a little bit more old school and traditional there, but it's going to be a lot of damage there onto Geo every single time that Ghastly Breath comes through. The slow amplification. You're not really helping out the Cupid damage with the Ghastly Breath since it's only magical protection you're shredding, but just a slow amount that you're doing allows so many additional basic attacks from Cupid, especially once he gets this Transcendence finish. The ability-based Hunter going to be packing quite a punch.
Already, though, coming in the Ghastly Breath, but interrupted by the pluck and thrown right back into the damage from Kirup. And now the sprint coming out as well. Heart Bomb going to take to try and add some extra damage, means that GL cannot continue the chase, but very low in there. Kirup finds it with the Astral Arrow. That's going to do it. Kamiru's down.
Calculated aggression from Geo there. Didn't level his first ability when he got aggressed on behind the purple buff. Wanted to keep the element of surprise during the laning phase, interrupting the Ghastly Breath. Couldn't be done in one of two ways, by the Tail Whip or the pluck. But if you get hit by the Ghastly Breath, now you're getting hit by your own minions, and then all of a sudden now you're plugged into enemy lines. Can't even body block because the astral arrows are coming through. That was a lose-lose situation all across from Ashu.
Now the portal lands into the unstable vortex in mid lane. No more follow-up comes out from Jimmy, so able to get right on out of there is going to be Seol. But that dual lane already going the way of Loyal. But yeah, Totally, this is the matchup I really want to talk to you a little bit about, and we might not even have a chance as Jimmy rotates over to the jungle. Now using the portal and coming in aggressively is Sir Eclipse. Unstable Vortex with the clap. Takes down yet another kill for him. This time it's Seal.
That's going to just allow Jimmy to get a little bit of an advantage here. One noob trading shots here with Paradiddle. Keep in mind, though, there's more sustain here from the Ymir with how many health potions he started. Tier 1 boots was the selection from Paradiddle instead.
That's why we see him playing so aggressive, even into the other enemy minion wave. Freeze off the mark, so Shockwave gonna knock him right back up. But already, we're seeing these two strong Guardians over here, whichever one is able to get ahead and make the rotations a little bit more impactful. That's who the real winner in this lane is going to be.
And I think that the one noob actually missed out on one minion as he was traveling to the blue buff there. So that's why Paradiddle hit level 3 first. It'll favor out one noob in terms of the early laning phase. You can get off a lot of poke there onto the Geb. I would like to see him hold onto the freeze for when the rollout comes through, so you disrupt a lot of the clear potential. And then you're just going to have more archers in general to smack the Geb.
Able to interrupt the rollout in the beginning. It does get CC immune later on in the second half of it, but at the beginning, you can just interrupt it, man, with that freeze, and one noob going to be looking to do that for not just to take away the clear, but some of the mobility from this Geb as well.
Different styles of their relic selection as well here. Paradiddle going for the sprint, anticipating maybe some early ganks coming from Seal, so he's going to have the ability to get out of the slow from the one noob, also during the shards. And Seal, after that one death, it's not going to hit level 5 compared to Jimmy Speed will.
Pluck comes out yet again. This time, though, Kamiru's ready and uses the beads. Those will be on cooldown as Kirip continues to find the shots into Manishima. A good heart bomb stun, but that's not going to be enough all by itself. The cripple is going to be landing. Tail Whip 2 and finds the shot. Does Kirip yet another kill in the duo lane going the way of Rom. And now the gank happens in solo. When it rains, it pours. One noob has nowhere to go but is juking inside the minion wave. Not enough, though. Jimmy finds that kill as Kamiru finds the response in duo, but setting up potentially another kill for Kirip.
The body blocks is so good, but it won't matter. Kirip finding the one astral arrow that he really needed. Both of those hunters hitting each other for so long that I guarantee you, if they press Y on their keyboards and look at that death recap, that those archers probably invested about 300 damage each there.
Using the body blocks, though, so well did Kamiru to almost find himself a double kill, but unfortunately, all those kills in the duo lane so far have gone to the worst possible person. If you're on the Mashi Boys roster, Kirip 3-0-0 on the ROM. Level 5 now. Kamiru is still level 3 and has not yet finished that Transcendence. Meanwhile, Kirip is already going to be stacking.
A lot of people think and consider Rom to be one of these late game hunters, and although I do agree, I think that his laning phase is still very strong if you have the right support right next to you, being able to be aggressive in the early portion. And with Season 4 and Season 5 changes of minions dealing less damage to you than normal, you're able to still trade out with enemy hunter, being able to deal a lot more damage in the trades and just come out on top here. Those astral arrows just amplifying slow after slow if you're successfully hitting them one after another allows Loyal to get this kind of 3-kill lead in the duo lane.
Kirip continuing to move up to the lane. Some of the talk about why Rom feels like more of a late game hunter is because his clear can be kind of bad. We're seeing it now. Even with all the lane pressure, it took him like 4 shots or so from the astral arrows to clear, and he has to be right up near it. But when you've got, like you said, the Sobek who can be so disruptive, who can bring the enemy out of position, then he's okay to walk up and attack the wave. Sir Eclipse, body blocked in, finally finds a portal. He's going to be able to get away from the dot damage, but I don't think Seal wants to give this up. Not going to be able to chase down Giannis, though. Cataclysm controls him. Jimmy has the rest of the damage. Palau gets forced out, actually. 1 chain, 2 chain, Geb shield. keeps Jimmy alive. He can keep chasing down the Rampage.
He's going to take a lot of damage in return here, though. The snipes coming through, diving into the tier 1 tower.
Wow.
Jimmy finds another. Suriclips will fall, but not until 2 were responded in kind.
Somebody tell Kirup that Rom is supposedly late game as he rotates in with that ultimate. That's what sets up the first kill and gets him the assist credit on the second. But wow, I mean, it's just good plays all over. There's so much to break down. Paradiddle Geb shields Jimmy instead of himself. So even though he gets pulled in by the Palau, Jimmy's able to go in and find damage.
That's the communication that you're really wanting out of your Geb player. Last game, it was actually Geo playing the Geb, and this time Paradiddle. And because of that Geb shield coming through, this allows Jimmy to hold on to that bat out of hell, get a little bit closer to that tier 1 mid tower, and then use it to find the kill. And that's a beautiful play here, all in all through. Every little moving cog needed to happen from Loyal to guarantee those 2 kills.
And remember, I think it started with Sir Eclipse getting pressured in mid. Actually, really good body block we saw from Seal and Rampage. Finally able to find the portal and escape, but Seal goes too far looking for him in the jungle.
That's true. And as a Giannis player, it's so easy to disengage here with how the dash teleport from Seal was used to engage. Didn't really have it to go back over that wall. Starting off with the beads, not the blink. You're not really going to find that chase down potential on a Giannis.
Good play from the entire squad from Loyal, and already looking much better here in Game 2 than they looked in Game 1. Now, this Mashi Boys roster certainly seasoned and can recover from an early deficit, but it never hurts if you're Loyal to be able to get out to a strong start like this, especially because a lot of their comp could be considered mid to late game.
I definitely agree. I think the control here is insane from both, but between a Sobek and a Geb, that's really scary. Then you got mobility on top of it with Sir Eclipse. The late game is going to be very fruitful, especially when you got Jimmy harassing Rampage to start things off.
And he's still doing it even now. Bat out of hell only needs one more shot. Jimmy finds that one too. Make it 8 total kills for Loyal to only 2 for Mashi Boys. And Rampage takes another seat for another 15 seconds.
I'm surprised that Minishima doesn't even look for the ulti onto Jimmy in the tier 1 mid tower. There's no beats on the side of this canvas. No Geb right around the corner, and now making a rotation here in the right side. Jimmy all over the place.
Yeah, and I have not yet seen what it is that makes this Amir pick in the solo lane work, at least not from the Mashi Boys just yet in this game. Jimmy has had a very easy time rotating over and punishing this Amir. There's no real way for him to get away from the gank as Sir Eclipse is forced to use through space and time to retreat.
Doing a lot of damage there onto the Giannis. Pretty easy to do, but you just can't ever find the kill. And that's the one advantage here that the Giannis players have. It's one of those safety factors, and that's why he's so heavily prioritized. In SPL or wherever region you're really looking at, a lot of these high priority picks and bans, it's more about safety factor than the carry potential, whereas ranked is vice versa. People are like banning away Uller because they're like tired of dealing with his nonsense, for example, but there's no safety on the side of Uller, and that's why you're not seeing him banned necessarily in these competitions.
Because when there's a coordinated effort, you can punish the likes of Uller a little bit harder maybe when you're playing with some people you're not as familiar with in your ranked games. So not always a direct reflection. Or I've always said they're very, very much different animals. The even top level ranked and SPL I think are very, very different animals. So they're not always going to be good reflections of each other. But
I mean, you look at the stats that we discuss, right, in the balance meetings, and we look and compare the higher portion of the elo versus the mid portion, the low portion.
Right.
You definitely can see the difference here, because I think Arachne is heavily prioritized in the lower portion.
Yeah, and I agree. There's some gods that you don't always that you would think would do well, even in ranked, that don't do very well, and some guys that are good in the SPL, and everyone else is like, whoa, why am I so trash at this? I feel like everyone else in the SPL is playing it well. It's maybe these small things that when you have a 5-man unit at work that don't work as much in ranked.
There needs to be a little disclaimer here during picks and bans. It's like, don't try this at home. When you see Scream playing Arachne or Bastet, or Seal playing the Bastet, there's a reason. They know how to coordinate with their teammates. They're not picking a Bastet where every other character in the book is also damage-oriented, right? Like, you got to have that fine balance here of mobility, the damage, the crowd control. Everything has to fall just right to find a win competitively.
Yeah, if you pick something that's not normal, there should be a bubble that pops up. It's a very short flow chart that says, "Are you Baskin?" are you adapting? And when you say no, it leads to, like, you know, maybe pick something else.
Yeah,
it's a really short flow chart, but are you basking? No, and then pick something else maybe. So, yes, sometimes these picks...
So you're telling me not to play Apollo mid in my rankings?
I'm saying you probably aren't going to look like the best player in the world if you play Apollo mid right now. No.
Fair enough.
Well, totally, you're very good.
Fair enough, fair enough. I mean, I don't think I can pull off Apollo mid.
But sure, I mean, I'm using the general you, obvious, you know. But yes, not always going to be a direct translation from what you see here on the SPL or even in the global series where there's these teams that have been working together to your own ranked games through space and time. Committed, Loyal are heavily committing to finding this kill. Rampage still alive, but eventually gets chased down there by Jimmy. Chains are going to land. They are going to pull Jimmy back under the tower, so he will end up falling, but not before they also find Minishima over on the jungle side, continuing to chase Seoul underneath the tier 1 tower. And Kirip, of course he's here to try and help out. Geo is the one that finds the last hit. 3 members have already fallen for Mashi Boys. Loyal look like a whole different squad here in game 2.
They definitely swept that first game under the rug and already thinking about the second game very effectively here. I love Kirip's rotations here, not only in this fight, but the one prior to it here. Being a part of 6 of the 12 kills is not normal for your Hunter for it to be 11 minutes into the game thus far here. He's been such a huge impact for Loyal's success in game number 2 of this best of 3 set. In that last engagement, Jimmy did a great job blinking in, being aggressive, knowing that Surclips was right behind him with the portals. Everything was very coordinated from Loyal there.
Man, this is what I think playing at an international level does for you. I mean, when you play up against some of those teams in North America and Europe, and maybe you're in Southeast Asia, you get handed a few rough L's. I mean, and you know how to bounce back afterwards totally. I mean, you come back here, even in the finals of this SGS matchup, they look unfazed. I bet you they are not worried about what happened in game 1 in the slightest, and they have come back in game 2 and looked entirely different. You got to keep it a little bit measured, though. If we could see those charts up real quick, it's not as big of a lead as you might think for how many kills that they have in the Golden Experience departments, but they are starting to build up on it. Got to make sure they stay measured, but they definitely look better than game 1.
It's a lot faster paced action than the last game, that's for sure here. 12 minutes in. It was 17 minutes where there was a first goal fury attempt. Smash Boy secured that one. This game, though, Loyal can definitely pull the trigger whenever they really want to. I'm surprised that they actually went for the tier 1 mid tower now that I think about it, as opposed to just straight rushing the gold.
Able to grab that for themselves, or at least consider grabbing it. Already, though, the tower in solo has fallen. One noob has been getting pressured by Jimmy whenever he feels like it. And whenever he wants to rotate over there and try and punish this Amir, he is able to do so successfully. So that one's already crumbled down in the mid lane. You see Surclips and Geo continuing to help clear out, but Kamiru and one noob, the Cupid and the Amir, those are my questions for this composition. And have we seen enough from them yet so far? I mean, certainly not, but when are they expecting these picks to come online for him? Is Surclips forced to continue to escape with the through space and time?
Trying to find another kill onto Surclips. That's like the 3rd time I think they tried to look for the kill.
Yeah.
And he's just disengaged here. Jan is so safe, but this is not going to stop Masha Boys from looking for another kill onto Geo, forcing a defensive ultimate.
Kirip is here if he wants to try and help, and instead he's going to walk right in, potentially, and get chained. He goes up into the air, pulled back in is Geo as well. Golden Apple of Discord there, and they are able to find that kill. Now Stygian Torment forces the beads out from Kirip. No stun is going to land, and finally, the cavalry is here in the form of the rest of Mashu Boys. Surclips finds a Rampage, and continuing to chase his Jimmy, and his target is going to be Minishima.
So 1-for-1 here. The gap Cataclysm into the knockup. Surclips, he was almost dead before, but he came back in with a hot double kill. Paradiddle gonna get frozen out here. It's Kirip that's in trouble.
Kirip is finally taken down. Kamiru finally showing up at that Fields of Love, and he's forced to dash away. Still fighting, though, as Jimmy has a Geb shield to keep him topped up. And he's going to go stand on that pool, get a little bit of HG back as well. 2-man freeze lands from one noob, but where's the follow-up? Coming across the backside, Surclips finds him with the unstable vortex. One noob now in a whole heap of trouble. He has the wall, but he's getting a little bit more than that to get away from the pressure. Shards of Ice being channeled. He is able to take down Paradiddle. Jimmy eventually finds him, but one noob finding a trade is pretty big there.
I love what Surclips did there. He was watching the back from the Cupid all the way to that tier 2 tower. Great portal usage there. Forces out the beats, actually, from the Cupid. They really want to kill Eclipse here.
Dash coming in from Rampage. Beads keeps him getting caught by the Strife, and he will continue now to escape. Forced to use the Apple of Discord this time onto Jimmy, who is still on the front lines of this fight and has been now for a minute and a half. Finally, call comes out to disengage from the Loyal squad.
This is not a disengage. Jimmy is almost full health off of that one little cloud here. Gonna poke out Minishima ever so slightly. Has the ultimate, being able to do a little bit, but he has to get away now. The bait!
A lot of damage coming in. Kirib is able to find Kamiru through space and time. Just barely off the mark, but is going to set up one more portal. Pluck pulls him right back into the damage from Kirib. You might have been striping him, but he's just looking for the autos. Anyway, Sir Eclipse gets the last hit. 6-1 and 6 for the mid laner now for Loyal.
An overextended engage here. Loyal just baiting Masha Boys into a bad spot entirely here. Sir Eclipse able to disengage for so long as Jimmy heals up in the background. He is able to go back in, really relying on that bat out of hell to get himself some damage off, and also baited out Kamiru to go in. That was like the second time that he dashed offensively here in the last 2 minutes and getting punished this time around.
Loyal now looking at the Gold Fury Tolly. Sill's here, but can you believe it? It's the Giannis, the one that's on zoning duty. One noob is on the backside as well, and now comes in the Dodgy up onto the Pal-Al, finds the chains. Not going to be able to pull back in the Rom, who goes up to the air, but Sir Eclipse is going to be able to fall, so they've deterred the Gold Fury for now. Stygian Torment controls 3 members, pulls them right back into the shards of ice, but everyone's able to walk away. It's 1-for-1 so far, but the Gold Fury has not been taken.
That's true. Paradil doing quite a bit there with that Geb Cataclysm, taking a lot of damage for his troubles there. He Geb shielded the Rom there, but the Rom had the beads and the ultimate there. He probably could have helped out Sir Eclipse instead, but either way though, Masha Boys still doing a good job holding on. Last time around it was Loyal that was holding on for dear life. This time it's complete 180.
Jimmy again pressuring this dual lane. This time it's Minishima, who is his target. Jimmy and Eclipse, man, they have been working together to form such a strong roving group for this Loyal squad. Whenever Sir Eclipse gets pressured, he's unafraid to use through space and time to disengage, and he's always right back there to provide the damage they need.
And I'm really surprised that Kamiru's not more behind experience-wise at level 13 compared to Kirib's level 14. Gold Fury, less than 25% health.
And Masha Boys are able to come in and take it away and find the kill. Rampage takes down Geo. Loyal did not have the secure necessary to confirm the objective. Now trying to chase down onto Sir Eclipse, but this might be a bit of an overcommit from Steel, and indeed it was. Jimmy gets the last hit necessary, 1-for-1, but Gold Fury goes the way of Masha Boys.
I'm curious almost as to what stole that objective here, but Loyal, they definitely need to clean up their objective secure if they want to extend this game that they have 20-8 kill-wise into an actual victory.
It's really not that big of a lead for them anymore. Loyal might be way more than double the kills, but Masha Boys have kept this game very, very even. Fields of Love is going to drop down on Jimmy, not going to tick on a portal. Gets him right out of trouble, but we can't say the same for Paradiddle, who gets locked down. Rampage finds that one.
Barely able to escape the Fields of Love. Allows him to go through that portal under the tier 1 mid tower. Paradiddle was the sacrificial lamb, as most Guardians, whether support or soul lane, normally are.
What a game here from Masha Boys. Now they turn their attention towards the Pyromancer Tolly. Jimmy is here, so is Geo. Sprint comes out. They definitely want to steal this. The wall from the Amir, and the Furries are perfect to secure the objective, but can they get out with their lives? Rampage plucked right back in, but there's no damage. Jimmy falls already. Sir Eclipse gets zoned away, so does Geo. Out is a Rampage. Masha Boys turning up here in the last few minutes.
Oh, they're not done yet. They want to kill Geo so badly there, but they're not able to find the kill. Kirib, though, all 3 chains for the damage. He had Aegis and beads. He had Aegis and beads.
Used none of them, and maybe he thought that he was just doomed to die in that situation and wanted to keep his relics available, but either way, what looked like a great game for Loyal has swung entirely back in favor of Masha Boys. A couple of prolonged engagements in the duo lane, failure to secure the Gold Fury have all tipped this back in Masha Boys' favor.
Finch, he had Aegis and the beads,
yeah,
and he didn't use it against the dodgy ultimate. You don't need to find the pull to get the kill sometimes. You could just do the damage. It deals quite a bit. Ouch.
Definitely
that's a feels bad
question
man.
Mark there.
That's a feels bad man and a half.
Definitely a bit of a question mark, but Kirib, again, my thought there is that he might have thought that even with the beads and the Aegis, that he was just dead to rights and didn't want to lose those relics, but with everything down the map except the Fire Giant, why not at least try and make it back out?
That's what I'm saying, because you have life still as well, so even if the dodgy still goes on you afterwards, maybe just try to trade out, right? Just stand still. Well, not stand still, but like kite backwards while throwing out the basic attacks, trying to lifesteal up with those Devil Gloves.
But the one noob, man, I gave him a hard time on this Amir totally, but he was instrumental in securing the Pyromancer. The wall kept Jimmy and Geo at bay, and then when Jimmy finally made it around, the freeze came out. That was all the time they needed to secure the Pyro, and even able to get Rampage out of there and secure a kill for themselves.
You can definitely tell the style of a player with how, not only what they picked, but how they played those picks. So last game it was the Terra, this game the Ymir. A more utility style from the solo laner of Masha Boys, really wanting to help his team be in the right position.
Some damage on the Sir Eclipse, who yet again uses the ultimate to disengage. It is very difficult to lock down this Giannis. Jimmy, trying to defend the red buff, forced to retreat through the exact same portals, or rather some more that were put up by Sir Eclipse for him, and now he'll find his exit.
It's going to be a little bit of an advantage to get something on this map here, with Sir Eclipse having to back here, but not opting to go for that tier 1 tower on the left side quite yet. Instead, they're focusing on the tier 2 in the mid, and just like that, that one unstable Vortex dealing so much damage.
Bit of a grouping here. It's only 3 members threatening tier 2 in the middle lane on the left-hand side.
Kirip got really hurt there in a 1v1 against Kamira. He had to back off, fearful of the rotations underneath.
They are going to be without their ROM for a while, who, remember, in the early game was a huge part of why things are going well for them. Tier 1 tower going to fall in duo, thanks to Kamiru and Seal. They take that one. Now the rotation's on. Paradiddle's here, but the chance for the collapse is on. Freeze lands onto the gap. The wall to isolate him for the rest of the team. Shard Device is going to trap him in further, but they don't have enough damage. Now it's going to be Geo who rotates in with the lurking in the waters. Mashi Boys can't find the kill and instead are getting punished themselves.
Kamiro having to dash away here in the backside is going to be Geo. The snipes coming through, needs to connect one, but the Aegis buying him time, does not land all 3 snipes here. Geo in the middle of everything, tail whipping away here. It's going to be Sir Eclipse now that needs to be mindful.
What a prolonged fight that is yet to find much of anything. Trickster Spirit gonna come out to try and cut down the space onto Kirip. Seal's the one that's able to find it, continuing to try and trade out. One noob comes in and takes down Jimmy as well. Pluck is gonna be used from Geo, just trying to disengage on the backside. Sir Eclipse coming through on the backside of the fight with a through space and time, trying to find an unstable Vortex target. He cannot, and instead is forced to retreat.
He needs to do something here with how low Seal is. One noob and Minishima all in the yellow here, despite a 2-for-0 that Loyal is on the bad end of it. Sir Eclipse could easily find some kills of his own.
And he does. Seol's gonna be the first target for him. Now with the Gold Fury being considered, they gotta keep a mind out for Paradiddle, who's here. Kamiru takes down Sir Eclipse. Now it's just the Geb who's forced to shield himself and back off. Gold Fury being looked at yet again, but Paradiddle's not gonna let this one go. He has Cataclysm if he can find a way to use it. He's in the rollout form. They're gonna come over and try and control him, dropping down the Fields of Love, but Cataclysm hits 3.
Trying to find the bait and the distraction here. That's
enough.
all the intent from Loyal. They don't want the kills. They just don't want Masha Boys from securing themselves the second Gold Fury of the game. Doing a great job in doing so as well. Even gonna buy some more time for Sir Eclipse to make the revive happen.
Look at these levels though. Now it's Kamiru who's on top of Kirip here as far as the experience is concerned, level 18 to 16. Now it's Minishima who's ahead. And tied now in the jungle are Seol and Jimmy. In the lead by a significant margin is one noob over Paradiddle. It's only really the mid laners where Loyal still has a lead. All this time spent away from the lanes trying to make something happen at towers, at objectives, on buffs, has helped Mashu Boy significantly.
And the late game respawns are more significant than the early game. There's more time to do objectives or just get additional waves, get more buffs, and that's what's been favoring out Kamiro.
Through space and time was committed, but it's not going to be enough. Can he use the portal to come in and try and contest it? Loyal take away the Gold Fury yet again. The secure is not there, but this time it's Mashu Boys who cannot hold on to it. Fighting up against Paradiddle with a little bit of help for a one noob is going to be Seol in the mid lane, but the Cataclysm and the Shockwave and the Shield are enough to keep him alive. Now Unstable Vortex coming out from Sir Eclipse still has the damage available.
The great patience here. The apple is going to spread here. Kira finding the kill, or Rampage onto Kirip instead. The pull here coming out from Cerberus here. Jimmy rather low, but it's all a distraction here because Rampage with a double in the backline taking out the Sobek support.
No Gold Fury, no problem for Mashu Boys, even though Loyal stripped it away. The team fight going the way of the Mashu Boys, and now they want the tier 2 tower in mid as well. Wall freeze off the mark, but forces Sir Eclipse back. This tier 2 tower has Mashu Boys written all over it. And now they're going to head back towards the Pyromancer, or totally, dare I say, even the Fire Giant.
They could, if they really wanted to here. Geo and Kirip won't be a factor there, but that unstable vortex or through space and time does a lot of damage. Ymir Ice Shards, though, will do more.
Totally, has either team, well, now they've gotten this Pyromancer, yes, but when an objective is contested, has either team secured it yet, or has the contest always led to a steal?
In this game, no. In the last game, there was some confirmed there.
Sure.
From Mashu Boys. They were able to really confirm all the objectives that they wanted to, minus the one Pyromancer that was stolen away by Kirip's Soul in the first game. But yeah, I think both of these teams need to worry about when to reset and when to hard commit. Because once you see through space and time, there was a little bit of a stagger. They kind of thought about it for a second, like, are they coming through? What are they doing? Do we stay on this? And that little bit of a delay allowed Loyal the positioning that they needed to get a little bit closer. Kirip with the snipes, the unstable from Suriclip, stealing the second Gold Fury of the game.
If Loyal had come through right away, that would have been the right play, but they didn't. It just didn't end up going for Masha Boys. Kind of like a coin flip on what to do in that situation. Maybe just get off it so no one has it, you know, but in the end, it goes the way of Loyal, and now they are. Masha Boys are going to look for the Fire Giant. Geo is here, Jimmy's here, and the rest of the team is on their way, but Fire Giant's already at half health, and Seal is already on zoning duty.
Junglers trading out health pools a little bit. Seal on the worst end of it, though. It will be secured by Mashu.
Through space and time is committed. Cataclysm comes through, hits 3 members, but Fields of Love comes out in response. Only able to stun 1 as Kirip is looking for the last shot. And Kamiru can't find it. He's going to be able to escape, but not from Jimmy and not for long. Turns her attention towards Soul, who Aegises and is able to survive as well. Kirip finally finds the shot necessary.
The Heart Bomb onto Jimmy will buy the Cupid a little bit, but not enough for Rampage to survive. Masha Boys, they get the Fire Giant, but they're losing too many members. They're losing 2, and I think Kamiru is going to be the 3rd.
Kamiru's in trouble. It's a 2v2 on the backside, though, as they look to try and chase down the Cupid. It is going to be Kirip who's working on that. Freeze and wall will keep Paradiddle away. Looking for the back. Can Kamiru find it in time is the question.
He got distracted. He got distracted. The Astral Arrow was good through the wall here. Now Kirip and Geo are looking to hunt down the little
This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare now for the Mashu Boys. Shard Device is being channeled, but who's going to be able to save Manishima, who's got a bunch of damage right around him? The knockup is good, but Kirip finally tracks down Kamiru. Suriclip finally finds Manishima. They only need 1 noob to find the deicide, though. They got the Fire Giant, but 4 members have been fallen.
Wow, Paradiddle with the mind games, rolling into the tier 2 tower, instantly canceling it in anticipation of that Ymir freeze. Yeah, losing 4 members here. Only the 1 noob with a Fire Giant buff. Mashu Boys overcommitted.
Wow, now this game swings back in favor of Loyal. This game has been a pendulum going back and forth. The question, though, totally, where is it going to stop? Is it going to stop on the side of Loyal or Mashu Boys? Right now, it's in Loyal's court as they've disrupted the Fire Giant. It's only on 1 noob, but found 4 kills for themselves.
Masha Boys can't really fight into objectives when Suriclips is alive. The mobility from Threshold, the portals, you're also getting the ultimate here that does a lot of damage, which can easily steal it away. You need to force Suriclips to back to base or force a very premature ultimate before you can even think about going for any of these objectives. Loyal, they were behind a decent amount of gold here in some of these objectives, but after finding all these kills, they're like really back into it now.
Yeah, not very much gold separates these 2 teams at all, as we've just passed the 28-minute mark. 25 to 16 are the kills, but that does not really explain just how close this match has been between these 2 teams. This whole set, rather. Masha Boys grab the Oracles, looking for a pick here on the Paradiddle, who's frozen, who's walled in as well. Cataclysm's going to keep alive for the moment. Golden Apple of Discord already has been committed. It's taken too long to take Paradiddle down. And now it's Jimmy who's in trouble, has Seal chasing him, and Paradiddle's actually still alive.
He's able to survive, but he goes back in through the portal there. He's not going to get pulled. He actually blinks away. Suriclips, though, caught between a rock and a hard place. First pick for Mashu Boys.
Finally, they're able to find a kill. Now Kirip's in trouble, but the Geb Shield is going to keep him alive. Mashu Boys find the 29-minute Gold Fury and are still engaged in this team fight. Geo is frontlining for Loyal right now, but there's really nothing left to fight over. They look for the disengage now that the objective has been taken.
So much back and forth action here. Masha Boys, they drop the Fire Giant. Like you mentioned, the pendulum, man, it's actually happening here in the 4th week of the 2nd phase for Southeast Asia's global region.
Tier 2 tower being pressured now by Mashu Boys. Only one tier 2 tower left remaining on the map. That's going to be on the solo side. They have opened up the door to some of these Phoenixes. That's the one thing in Mashi Boy's favor. Loyal still have some work to do in that department. But Paradiddle does not want to let them back off for free. He's lurking around in the jungle.
A Gab that can be this aggressive is always a good thing. Not normally your typical support style. You want to be more in the backline here, but a Gab Soling can do the best of both worlds. Just peel and engage very safely here. Going for the blink as the second relic. Didn't hesitate for that second relic whatsoever compared to that first game where he was playing the Sobek.
This time he knew exactly what he wanted. He wanted to be able to blink Cataclysm, and they've been strong to help control these team fights so far. As the Mashi Boys have to regroup, Fire Giant, for whatever value it was worth, is gone. They'll be back up another 45 seconds. This could be trouble though for Seal, forced to use the Pal-Out. Is able to find the chain on the 3 members, get some beads out from them, but he's going to pay for it with his life way too far out of position.
Just not able to find the pull. Mad Guy's Cloak too strong to find them. And with this one pick, Loyal can easily attempt to go for even more here. One Noob's going to get knocked up for the moment. Rampage might get chased down under this tier 2 tower, but instead focus on this Ymir that has no mana.
Lurking in the water is going to slow him. The wall perfect to create a little bit of space for him. Minishima is backing off as well, but Pyromancer being looked at now by Loyal Soul, though, man, he's hurting this team right now. Why was he there?
That is so true here. And I love the Wing Blade pickup from the one Noob. It was procced off of the Sobek ultimate, allowing him to just outrun the Sobek and then drop the wall under his feet. Normally when you're a mirror, if you're slowed under a certain threshold, you can't do that all the time.
That's right, and this time he's able to do it. One Noob is going to try and loop around the backside, but Rampage has already blown up Geo. They might not even need him. Going through the wall is Sir Eclipse using the portal and the Unstable Vortex. One Noob is finally here to freeze Paradiddle under the tower. Kamiru falls. 2 kills now for Mashi Boys. No Seal, no problem as they continue to push. It's a 4v3 until Seal's able to join up.
Rampage MVP in that team fight, catching the Sobek mid-dash with the golden apple. The cripple stopping him in his tracks. No Sobek ultimate to follow suit as he tried to kill the Ymir there. And that is going to allow Mashi Boys to go for their second Fire Giant attempt.
Fire Giant has been secured now by Mashi Boys. No trouble with it this time. Jimmy comes in to try and contest and could very well end up paying for it with his life. Kamiru finds the last hit. 5, 4, and 5 now for the Hunter for Mashi Boys. Fire Giant on all 5 members this time. Only Sir Eclipse and Geo who just respawned, and Kirip alive to try and defend. The tier 2 and solo certainly going to fall, and Kirip now isolated by the one Noob. He's going to lifesteal instead of trying to fight. I love it. It's keeping him sustained. He's healthier than when they started.
Yeah, where's the rest of the teammates here? I'm like, this Ymir is doing so much work. The rest of his teammates were going for the tier 2 tower. Nice poke, though. Coming from Rampage, it's going to force the disengage. Beautiful Geb shield there, just in the nick of time.
That's going to keep him alive. Forced to retreat now is Geo. Up onto the Pal, but not able to find anyone to pull back in. Pluck is going to land. One Noob's on the backside, but Shard Device forces out yet another shell from this squad. Could be a little bit of trouble on the backside now for Paradiddle, who's able to escape. Phoenix on the right-hand side falls, and Kirip now falls to Soul as well. Beans to avoid the portal, and he's out of there.
And that's going to be a nice, clean pickoff. A 5-on-3 advantage. Make it 5-on-4 once Jimmy respawns here. Geo off the mark there. Ooh, I thought that was about to clip out Seal just barely.
They're very close right now in the fight. Gonna have to try and back up. Our Mashi Boys, Loyal, are able to defend them from getting anything further than just this one Phoenix at the very least.
They're trying. They have Fire Giant still for another 2.5 minutes, really respecting the respawn timer from Jimmy. Now, I thought Kirip was about to go into the sky with his Ram ultimate there, trying to pick off the one Noob, but he used the Aegis, which actually cancels it out there because of how much damage he was about to take there. So being a stationary target, it was very easy for the rest of Mashi Boys to find that kill after the right side Phoenix.
Mashi Boys have looked clean here in this set, and Toli, this is a chance for Mashi Boys to just close everything out to win this one right here, right now. 2-0. Loyal, they may have been strong leading up to this one, or leading up to this fight, but Sir Eclipse,
that wall is so good.
Gonna take a ton of damage. There's space and time, not gonna get him out of there. One Noob finds him before he can even make it into the portal.
Wow.
Mashi Boys continuing to dominate.
Read like a book there, and I even like the attempt there that Sir Eclipse had originally there. He backpedaled away from the wall, anticipating the carpet, but the carpet a little bit too wide that he anticipated. So with that clean pick though, Mashu Boys will secure themselves the Gold Fury. And honestly, that should have been just like a rush attempt. Like, all right, Circlip's dead for 45 seconds. Let's go to the Phoenix right now. Who needs Gold Fury? We have 90,000 gold collectively.
It is a little surprising that they hesitated there. They don't have one noob with them, and they don't have Minishima either. They're not grouped up right now. They have another minute on the Fire Giant. They're kind of taking their time. Finally, though, they're pushing up the minion wave in duo. They are starting to group up. One noob is taking a strange path. He is going to end up getting met with two, and they have to come try and help. Wall, not going to be able to catch out Paradiddle as the Geb shield's there. And now they can pressure this Phoenix on the left-hand side.
Need somebody to go in, and they're going to have the Dodgy finding the chains, forcing out a lot of defensive relics / ultimates, just like that. But here comes the Blink Cataclysm.
Through space and time, Seal's already down. Solar Eclipse finds the shot on the backside. Fields of Love is down, but no one's really trapped inside that either. Now it's a Rampage who's incredibly low, and Jimmy gonna come in to clean that one up as well. Double kill for him as he takes down Kamiru. A nightmare situation for Mashu Boys as they're getting deleted now by Loyal. Kirip has the damage he's trying to put into one noob. Gets controlled. All members brought into the freeze, into the shards of ice. And it does help them take down one.
What a great wombo combo, but it's only the two Guardians left alive here. What can they do against 4 healthy Loyal members? They find the deicide. And like F-Dot likes to say, hesitation leads to devastation. They're not abusing Suriclip's respawn timer, allows them to come back through space and time, just deletes Dodgy off the map, and the 5-on-4 fight from there on out favoring Loyal.
And not what I've come to expect from this Mashu Boys roster was how disjointed that looked for them that entire time period after they get the Phoenix on the right-hand side. It was not clear what they wanted to do, and totally, I don't know about you, but I mean, if Loyal keep pushing here, I mean, only Dodgy up right now can they end off this. The Phoenix is very low. It's at about half health now. It is being shredded by the damage from Kirip. Seal's here to defend. That is enough to push Loyal back for now.
They're afraid about that right side Phoenix that's exposed here. The Titan's going to take a little bit of chip damage, and I think that right side Phoenix will respawn with minions right beside it. So if they don't defend that, then that Titan, the damage it takes won't respawn.
Geo's here. That's going to be enough to try and keep this Phoenix alive, and I think he'll be able to do it. Maybe not. Those archers are still shooting. Kirip is the difference maker. He comes in and keeps that Phoenix alive.
Because all of those abilities had to be used, and Sobek can't knock back with multiple astral arrows. Mashu Boys are going to use this opportunity, though, to try to force a Fire Giant.
While there's minions pushing the Phoenix on the left-hand side, through space and time's committed. Solar Eclipse takes out Kamiru yet again. Fire Giant is a distant memory for the boys of Mashu as Jimmy takes down Rampage as well. Cataclysm going to control the one noob, and Jimmy's here to put in more damage. Solar Eclipse is on fire as he takes down Seal on the right-hand side as well. Only 3 members of Mashu Boys still standing, and even the wall not going to save them now.
So Eclipse able to go through one wall while the blink from Jimmy goes through another here. It's only Minishima to defend his Titan, and this is going to be split down the middle. We're going to game 3, Finch.
Yeah, this is it. Loyal looked good at the beginning of the game, but Mashu Boys controlled the middle. Not going to be nearly enough. Loyal come in, take game 2, and force it to a game 3. These two teams are so close, Toli.
They looked so strong then. I guarantee you here, from Mashu Boys during picks and bans, they're either going to go for first pick and look for the Giannis, or they're going to ban that away.
Can have that happen again. Sur Eclipse in those last 2 fights, finding those long-range snipes. He wasn't doing it alone. I mean, there were some cataclysms that were helping him get set up, yes, but it's just too much damage from this Giannis.
And that's the main difference factor here. The Giannis, the mobility, it's not just the damage. Like, yeah, you can get a few fortunate snipes down some lines there, but it's more about just the mobility, because keep in mind that they tried to kill Sur Eclipse over and over again so many times on the Giannis, but he got out on several occasions there, and that allowed him to stay relevant.
Not just himself, there were even some times where he was able to get his teammates out of danger, creating those portals, those avenues for escape so huge for their team, and Loyal to remain composed totally. Mashu Boys really in the mid game had wrestled it back from them. They were firmly in control and just could not close the game out.
That's true, because with Loyal losing the first game, they came out swinging in game number 2 here. So I'm curious to see how these two teams make adaptations for the 3rd picks and bans game.
That's right. We are in game 3 between these two teams, and it could not be closer. coming down to a tiny bit of difference for them. Remember the play from Seol, though, on the Daji, where he's in between the Fire Giant and towards the enemy jungle. He gets caught out and they die. It's a 5v4 after that for Mashu Boys, where you think maybe they end up dropping it there, but they remain composed. They're able to win it.
That's true here. And a little bit of the objective control can be a question mark for both of these two teams. It's like whichever one starts it, the other one steals it to start things off here. Mashu Boys banning the Nox right off the bat.
Feel free to put a couple of question marks above my head. Not so sure about that one, but they banned it away. Giannis is still available, and Jing Wei selected by Mashu Boys over this Giannis pick. Perhaps they have an answer to it and want Loyal to snag it for themselves. Kakulin, though, is going to be the first selection for Loyal, along with the Kamazots.
I'm really surprised that Mashu aren't instantly locking in this Giannis, but the Terra is very important here. The one noob doing so much damage here in a lot of these engagements, and I like the way he plays these Guardians.
Rom going to be the next selection for Loyal, and why not? He's been strong all set long for whoever has had him. Agni also going to be the selection there for Mashu Boys. Tons of control already between the Terra and the Agni. Couple questions about when they want this Jing Wei to be relevant, though.
That's true. Jing Wei is going to be able to kind of have it the best of all phases here. Amaterasu, though, surprised to see her, and still.
Why does Loyal ban the Giannis?
Yeah. That's a little questionable considering that they had the next pick.
Yeah.
And they wanted the Scylla. They wanted the late game damage here.
I guess that's it. They wanted to make sure there was no way they could go double mage for Mashu, ban the Giannis since they didn't want it, and end up taking the Scylla for themselves. Meanwhile, Amaterasu and Bastet coming out from Mashu. We already saw an insanely strong Bastet here earlier in this very set. Let's see if that can happen again for Mashu.
Well, this time around with the Bastet, they only have the Terra for the control alongside the Agni. Last time it was a double guarding here between the support and the solo lane. But Amaterasu providing a different kind of style. It's all about the mobility. Without Giannis, you're really relying on the Amaterasu once she gets that maxed out aura.
Let's go ahead and move into Game 3, the decider match between Mashu Boys and Loyal. And totally, yes, they're playing for prizing here, but don't forget, they're playing for a difference in seeding as well. Those qualifiers, which are going to be starting here at the once this is over, to determine who goes into that league format now. It could potentially be in the difference between facing an opponent that's tougher or weaker, make your path easier in. So this match is important for a lot of reasons.
That's very true. After this week number 4 here, not just in Southeast Asia, but other regions as well.
Right.
We're moving to a league format, and with a 2-week qualifier, it's very important to get in the right position there. So the soft seeding will certainly help out these top 2 teams.
And I believe it's only going to be 4 teams in each one of those leagues as well. So one matchup could potentially be what spells the difference between being 4th or 5th, between, you know, how you end up going into that league format. So getting the wins here, going into those qualifiers with momentum, so important. And already Paradiddle has aggressive positioning, Toli. And there's a lot of members of Mashu Boys around, but I don't think they recognize he's here. No chance for the collapse. But one noob, he's playing back so safe, I don't think he wants to get proxied here.
No, not quite yet. I think Terra, what he wants to do is block the minions there. But normally you're going to block it at the beginning.
Right.
Not this far out here, but training out basic attacks just to ensure the Warriors blessing off the mark with the stun there. Paradiddle able to at least get off the barbed spear once, which will allow him to do it again once the minions actually do hit.
Yeah, I think one noob was aware that Paradiddle wanted to come down. Maybe not get the full proxy, but at least hit the wave first, like with one ability, so he'd have it available to hit again and get a little bit ahead of one noob in the clear. He's going to have a tremendous amount of pressure over this Terra, is this Kakulin, and trying to exacerbate that.
He's just building his rage. He wants to transform as early as possible, and a lot of action in the duo.
Already could be trouble for Gio, who's juking and trying not to get shot, but Minishima finds it. It gets traded back, but the first blood is going to be going the way of Mashu Boys, and now a chance to make it 2 kills as Kamira tries to walk down Kirip on the Jing Wei.
He has nowhere to go.
The shots. He's
nowhere to
juking
go.
the shots.
Oh, it's going to be the Agni making the rotation at level 2. Rampage getting in the right place at the right time. And I think, honestly, Kamira had it either way. He missed a few basic attacks there, but Kirip was spending more time juking than he was returning the shots.
You got to make sure you're juking back to safety, or else the jukes don't mean all that much. Rampage gets a hello as he walks back into the middle lane, courtesy of a crush coming from Sir Eclipse, who is going to be able to go grab the Harpies on the right-hand side. Harpies on the left going the way of Mashu Boys, but already some early fighting in duo.
And I think it was last game, actually, where it was Kirip that was playing the ROM that got to that super duper late game where he got the first 2 kills. Or was it at the first game?
Where, yeah, Kirup was in game 2, got up to a 3-0-0, I want to say, in game 2.
And already on the flip side, now, even though Kamiru didn't get the first 2 kills, first blood going into Minishima, then the second kill for Mashi Boys going to Agni, he's still going to have a great lead in terms of the stacking department, being able to get those Hunter's Blessings first.
I'm sure he would have liked to get some of those kills, but you're right, he is still getting the assist credit, so not all doom and gloom by any means as he gets everything started. Look at his build path, though. He's got the Hunter's Blessing, and I think that's into the Light Blade.
That's true. Getting a lot of attack speed to start things off. This might be an in-between build where he's not really too sure of what he wants to finish off, because going Asi immediately is questionable, considering that could have been easily tier 1 Devo Gloves. Receiving a little bit of a buff with physical power now makes it even more enticing to start off, which is why I believe we're seeing it more in competitive play, because of that physical power disparity.
And the tier 1 in particular of it is a lot better now, so that's what's surprising about this. Perhaps he's got the Light Blade for the attack speed and won't be finishing it until later, and is instead going to like pull back and get maybe a tier 2 of Devos or Boots or wherever he chooses to go.
Well, the thing is, if you're looking for the attack speed that early on, you might as well go into the short bow.
Right.
Trying to go for the Ikavile immediately afterwards, and that wouldn't be a bad idea, but I think he still wants to stay on that Executioner / Chin size, maybe even Aussie path, so not going to stray away too far.
Kamiru does still have the pressure here in duo, even with the Cerberus here for Geo. They have had Mashi Boys have an easy time clearing this up here so far. Getting off to a good start. Rampage made that rotation all the way over to dual lane to help out, and I got to imagine Agni had a much easier time clearing those early waves than the Scylla did and freed him up to rotate.
It might have been the fact that Seal was there to help him clear it out here. Sprint was used, but not making that tower dive happen. Jimmy had ultimate if he wanted to go in there. The one noob, they actually traded out the ultimates there between Kukulin and Terra.
I think he almost certainly would have if he had hit any of his abilities on the way in, but he missed the 1 and the 2, Toli. So the damage threshold was nowhere near as low. If he could have brought him down, then yes, I think he probably would have chased him out, but instead, good jukes from one noob.
So when you hit the Screech, the first ability on Camisats, you're getting more physical power to augment your Vampire Bats, which actually slows your opponent to guarantee more swipes from your Bat out of hell. So missing the 1-2 combo, less tempting to make that tower dive.
And to be honest, I'm not trying to give Jimmy a hard time there either. Camazotz, I don't think is particularly easy. Those lines can be a little bit narrow, especially on the 2, so they're not always the easiest abilities to hit. But that would have been, I think, almost certainly a kill had he hit those, and you got to make sure you're finding them.
They're even more difficult to hit when you're trying to aim against a juking target that's like sideways, like you're facing the wall. Right? Whereas if you're in the laning phase in the solo lane and you're kind of like aiming down the lane, it's a lot easier to aim down a lane than against somebody that's trying to move back and forth against the wall.
And all one noob had to do, that was a situation where the jukes were a little bit different. He only needed to juke long enough to avoid the abilities instead of the constantly available auto attacks that we saw earlier on. So once those were down, he was clear to get back into the tower line. So a good play from one noob to stay alive. Jimmy makes the rotation, doesn't really find much off of it, and everything is kind of A-okay.
Going pretty good here for Minishima as well with that first blood. Finishing off the evolved sprint here. Already Devo Gloves selling the Light Blade. Wow.
Curious.
Yeah, Kamiru actually sold the Light Blade.
There's no way that that's cost effective, almost for sure, right? No way.
Definitely not. You're not getting like enough gold to warrant the difference of selling the Light Blade.
Yeah, it's definitely a gold loss. Maybe wanting to just have the attack speed at the start, and then
maybe he
misclicked enough.
Maybe he just straight up misclicked it. And you know how Xingwei passive works. If you accidentally leave the fountain, and then all of a sudden you're like flying around anyway.
So maybe he was just stuck with it and had to rock it. So Kamiru instead goes back and grabs the Devourer's Gauntlets. Is going to get those finished before Kirup, who's elected to go with Boots, so at least the stacking advantage will be his, but Kirup going to be a little bit more mobile and have a lot more attack speed.
It's going to favor out Kirup there, I think, with a Ninja Tabi, honestly. Just the mobility is good enough, whereas Kamiru's going to be looking to passively farm, rely on that Xingwei passive to get back into the lane if she gets poked out, especially from Jimmy that wants to play so aggressive with his flick.
Geo has rotated into the mid lane, and The rotations come in from Geo as well. Stigi and Torment gonna pull Minishima back towards everyone. Dazzling offensive keeps him alive, but on the backside, the dive is coming out from Paradiddle, who ends up getting traded out 1-for-1. Chaos everywhere in that fight.
Sarclip's doing a good job hitting the one execute, forcing the Aegis on another. Seal needed to use that defensive relics, jumping over the left side mid Harpies there. And it's now Kamiru that needs to dash away.
He certainly is trying to find a way out of this, but I don't know if there is one. Airstrike over the wall, gets him away. Gonna use the one noob to kind of create him a little bit of space, and Kamiru is gonna survive. And you alluded to that Jingwei passive earlier. He'll be back to lane before you know it.
An interesting dive from Paradiddle there. He recognized that he was about to transform, which gives him extra mobility from his Vent Anger, extra health and shield from just transforming, but he needed to use his War Cry instantly to get some CC immunity, because once that first Agni Bomb Stun hit, it forced out every other Agni Bomb Stun, and then you're getting hit by 2 to 3 tower shots, so even a level 8 Kakolin is not going to survive that one.
He was at least part of 2 assists, it looks like, for that, so that does help, but it looks like still that time he's been dead has benefited the one noob a little bit more experience-wise. He's level 9 already.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. He did a great job engaging before the tower dive. This is me just being very nitpicky about solo lane things.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it ends up having to have benefited the one noob here a little bit. Looking to maybe try and invade the blue, but I don't know if he expected Jimmy to be here, who has no problem hitting the one this time. Forces out the Earthen Fury, and not able to find the dash reset either. Jimmy didn't continue with the pressure, so one noob is going to make it back to the tower just fine.
Terra is one of these annoying goddesses to play against because she just doesn't get knocked up. And I was kind of confused as to why Paradiddle didn't use his ultimate to kind of avoid the stun from the clapping walls, but it was because you're not going to really find the knockup or the CC on the Terra, so save it for a kind of a rainy day.
One noob low, and it looks like the dive is on. Already it's going to be Paradiddle, who's going to take the tower aggro. Stun is going to land onto Jimmy. Still alive is
the
one
ultimate.
noob.
Jimmy, use the ultimate.
Apparently he doesn't want to do that. Looks for the one again, misses it. Dash gets him away from the second bit of damage. Now bad help comes out.
He missed the first one.
Second swoop's not enough damage. Still alive as one noob, and now it's time for the rest of Mashu Boys to rotate over. They got to do a little bit better on taking down these ganks. Dazzling offensive is going to find the stun. No bad hell to get him out. One noob finds the kill.
Geo is here though, but he can't find the stun onto Minishima. Great sprint there, being used defensively just to get away from that tier 1
can't happen,
tower.
Tully.
That really can't. There was so much opportunity for him to use the ultimate earlier on.
Wow, that can't happen. I mean, what a prolonged gank attempt that it was underneath the tier 1 tower, and one noob, cool and calm as you like, jukes around, heals, stays alive. Tremendous delay from Jimmy on going up into the bat of hell. Perhaps worried he wouldn't be able to find the hits, and it turns out he was right. So maybe that's why he didn't want to go up into it sooner and wanted to save it for an escape, as he gets punished by the rotation from Mashu Boys.
And Jimmy was there for about 2 waves time, so that's plenty of time there for the counter rotations from Mashu Boys, saving Terra. It's so difficult to kill her. Yeah, I get that, but if you're not going to like go for the tower dive immediately, don't waste your time any longer there. Now you're just stripping away experience from Paradiddle that's already behind from one noob a little bit in the experience department. So look for more efficient ganks. I'm really surprised that Jimmy's just not straight up rotating in the duel lane, trying to shut down Kamiru that just now picked up the Ninja Tabi.
Punished was Jimmy on the back of that one. And now Mashu Boys enjoying a little bit of a lead for themselves. Looks like maybe right around 600 gold or so that they can enjoy. We do have a bit of a difference in these Warlock staffs, though. Staves? Staffs? What is it in plural form? I don't know. But Rampage appears to be a bit ahead of Suriclips.
That's what it's all about here. Trying to find that early lead here. Finding that one kill was very important onto Rampage.
Or rather, it's Suriclips who's ahead. I'm wrong.
Yeah, Suriclips was the one that got a little bit ahead there. Suriclips, though, forced to use that ultimate defensively. Jimmy up in the sky.
Aegis going to keep Soul alive for now. Stigi and Torment going to bring all 3 members back, but there was no follow-up, so they're just fine. Minishima is able to find Jimmy up in the air as Kirip looking for the shots. Can't find those either. Suriclips eventually able to take down Minishima, but not before 3 members from Loyal fall in mid.
On the left side, Kirip rolling on in. Bomb stun coming through, buying him some time there with the Aegis. Tier 1 tower trying to do what it can to hold off the minions, but you can't get body blocked for that long.
The shots from Kamiru with air make it another kill That's going to go the way of Mashu Boys there in that fight. Taking down Kira from the back side of it. I believe it was 4 total they were able to snag for themselves, or right around that mark. Mashu Boys, man, they have looked excellent here in Game 2 totally. Of some missed opportunities from Loyal.
That's true. Loyal trying to force a little bit too much there. Surclips had to use their ultimate defensively, as did Jimmy. It was actually Surclips that played Agony in game number 1 here. In game number 3, Rampage returning the favor, doing a lot of work with these bomb stuns.
We're going to continue it. Paradiddle has the Rage Transformation coming. That's why I used the ultimate. That's not going to be enough to deter the boys of Mashu. Want to continue to chase. Jump comes out. No stun. Paradiddle's okay. In fact, it looks like he's ready to try and re-engage, but they don't really have a clear opportunity.
The pounce back was still available for Seal to disengage from that one. Paradiddle's still going to absorb a few pot shots there, which allows Jimmy to casually secure the blue buff for himself. Gold Fury not attempted here, despite how much attention was in that solo lane.
Looking for the Oracles now, our Mashu Boys, or at least standing near them. Not going to really aggro those. Seoldo finds Paradiddle. No problems on the right-hand side of the map. Continuing to pressure Jimmy. I think there's more of a rotation coming than there is. They certainly could have chased that if they knew where Surclips and Geo were.
A lot of bombs not connecting onto anybody there. Rampage really thought that that stun was going to connect, and Paradiddle just took more damage than it was worth there. Really got caught between a rock and a hard place. He tried to pick up his own blue. I think he got caught out of position there. Now Jimmy trying to defend the tier 1 tower in the solo lane.
Stun, damage comes in from Seol, able to avoid the Stygian Torment, which gets no one. Bat out of Hell used as well. I like that they committed together at the same time, but no one found by Geo on the pull, so both ultimates wasted.
The one noob just can't get knocked up whenever you use the monolith. All right, immediately after that, Ambassador was just out of range there, so not finding that ultimate to be fruitful there. Jimmy was forced to use that ultimate defensively. It's not looking too good for Loyal in terms of the playmaking opportunities there. It was Mashu Boys that got off that great start in that dual lane. Minishima doing a lot of work there. And off of that level 1 fight, people often forget that Amaterasu at level 1 does a lot of damage with that passive, just amplifying all damage, all incoming damage by 10% on that target that gets hit by 3 of her basic attacks.
I think Crush might have taken them. Just made hard base though, so no big deal. Blue buff going to go the way of Paradiddle. Be able to defend that up against the pressure from one noob. I was saying that they used all those ultimates over there in Soul Lane totally, but at least they didn't lose the tier 1. They are very much in danger of that happening between the pressure that was there between Soul as well as one noob, so at least they defend that.
And the tier 1 tower going down at 13, 14 minutes, not the end of the world in the solo lane. It would be more impactful in mid. Wow, this Gold Fury got shredded.
It's gone.
Melted.
Gold Fury taken there by Mashu Boys. Loyal never had a chance to respond. I don't think that was them sleeping on that one. It just got burned insanely quickly.
That's true. They even had a ward on the top side, but not underneath there to spot the intentions of Mashu Boys. Agility coming through from Kamiro. Here comes the dash as well from Minishima, being able to disengage for the moment. Now it's a counter engage.
Jumping in right now is going to be Seol. Damage onto Geo is very real as they continue to chase him down. Stygian Torment locks them out. Airstrike just going to be just out of range, and Jimmy finds the return kill onto Minishima. Rainfire not going to find anyone either. What looked like a good initiation for Mashu Boys ends up with them losing their support, and rotating on the backside is Surclips.
And even though they lost their support, they forced Geo on back there. Seol gets caught in a really bad spot. Forced to use the beads and the Aegis.
I'm a monster! Doesn't hit. Ooh. That was close.
I felt that one.
I think Surclips was trying to time it for right when the Aegis was up to pop the crush. Either that or it went off before. Like, it does have a timer that when it'll explode, so not able to find it. Actually uses the Sentinel there, does provide some vision, so certainly knew there's a lot of trouble waiting on the other side of the wall.
I'm not sure if he had the crush available, but he could have thrown that over the wall if it was up to delay the backs to just allow more tier 1 tower damage. But either way, by allowing them to back, it guarantees it either way.
Loyal finally able to find a bit of a win for themselves by grabbing the tier 1 tower. And that started with Mashu Boys being the one who aggressed. But the Stygian Torment that time from Geo was huge. He picked up Kamiru and brought him right back down. And what was important was that he got just enough time for them to get outside the range of the airstrike from Kamiru.
That's true. He committed a little bit too far deep there, and everyone else from Masha Boys needed to disengage there. Minishima really wanted to get off that ultimate to deal so much damage, but sitting with Sovereignty here, a decent amount of physical protection to absorb, and Amaterasu supports ultimate damage.
Still, the main difference this game is between our two junglers. Soul on this best stat yet again, still looking strong, and Jimmy is a little bit behind on this Camazotz, level 13 to level 15 for Sion. See if we can even that gap back out. I mean, last time, Loyal got off to a good start in the mid-game, went all the way on Mashi Boys, so we'll see. Apparently, getting off to a good start doesn't mean too much, at least not between these two teams here in this set.
Just too much waffling every now and then between these two teams of
Yeah.
where they want to kind of commit to what lane, what objective, and then when they do commit to an objective, they kind of stagger and they turn into a pancake.
Totally, what?
They just waffle too much into a pancake.
French toast.
Yes.
Could be a little bit of trouble, though, for Paradiddle. Or maybe not. Maybe they're going to walk by each other and be two ships passing in the night. Instead, it's Geo who gets locked down by the damage from Rampage. Paradiddle rotates on the backside, but gets stunned out before he can find the ultimate. Stygian Torment has now been committed from Geo. That is on cooldown, as is the cat call from Seoul. I'm a Monster is going to hit on the Rampage before the Aegis can come out, so he's very low, forced to continue to retreat. But Sir Eclipse not ready to give up on it just yet. If he can find the Crush, no Sikkim.
He needs to connect on this damage here. Oh, the dash was saved just for that moment, but the basic attack afterwards will confirm it. The double root will buy Sir Eclipse just a moment here. Meanwhile, on the backside, Kurip taking out Kamiru. It's a 2-for-0 trade.
Paradiddle's not done fighting yet either. He's keeping Minishima and the one noob busy while the rest of his team groups up for the tier 1 tower in mid, which they do indeed take. Loyal win another team fight. Again, the beginning of the game went the way of Mashu Boys, but Loyal do not seem too deterred by that, as they now take the Pyromancer as well.
Clean objective being secured. Gold Fury not up for another minute, and it's a little too ambitious to go for Fire Giant quite yet, so taking what they can here. Without any tier 1 towers, they could also look to group up for a tier 2 eventually, but these respawn timers a little too short here, only being 18.5 minutes in the game.
Look how even this match is totally.
Yep.
Very little relevance in that gold lead, about 500, about 1,000 or so experience. At 19 minutes, what we're approaching here right now, that lead is essentially irrelevant. These teams are very, very close, and Loyal, though, they're the ones with the momentum. They've won the last couple of fights. They've taken the Pyromancer. They've gotten a tier 1 tower in mid. They're the ones that kind of have everything swing in their favor.
I can't believe Sir Eclipse survived that last team fight.
That's nuts, yeah.
He got dashed on. If he didn't hit that root, that double root there, that he would have got chased down completely. And that team fight was off the back of Sir Eclipse. Forcing Rampage out defensively means that everyone else can breathe easier knowing that those bomb stuns aren't coming their direction here. And with this 2-level lead, this Scylla is getting closer and closer to the level 20 mark where she really makes a big stride.
Soul's right here, but it's Sir Eclipse that's in the front and is going to take poke for it. Jumps away now. Very easy poke that came out the way of Soul, and Sir Eclipse has to retreat. I don't know why he goes through the jungle path first and takes the free easy poke. Same for Jimmy, who's also very low. Mashu Boys have been able to win the poke battle so far. Can they translate that into an actual team fight win?
Both Soul Eaters make their rotation, but it's Paradiddle that takes more damage than the one noob quite yet. Already sitting at about 75% health. This 5-on-5 advantage should go the way of Mashu Boys, even though they have the Terra for the healing. It's going to be a trade of the damage, and honestly, they could get something off of this with Gold Fury respawning.
Instead, they get nothing. Sir Eclipse backs. Everything is fine. And, you know, Mashu Boys don't take their minor victory. In fact, Loyal now are the ones near the Gold Fury pit. At the very least, Geo is right there on top of it, trying to get, it looks like, vision control with that Sentry Ward. So not ready to start it just yet, but now Mashu Boys have to wonder if they're on it, and it's going to be Minishima who checks it first, finds out everything's fine, and makes the retreat.
Doesn't have a Sentry Ward, just sitting on the Chalice instead. Sentry on one noob and Kamiru, so one of those two opposite side laners need to get in position to de-sentry and debunk that vision.
Ooh, totally. No thorns on either team right now, so the crit is coming out. No surprise it's coming from Kamiru because he has the crit in build, but Crip already itemizing into the rage as well.
That's what you got to do as a ROM here. He favors crit so well there, especially when you're not going to be receiving that reflect damage. Not only is there no thorns, there's no Hydro Nemean Lions to reflect any damage.
Yeah, crit every day then. If there's no thorns, no Nemean Lion, this is the build to go. Seoul taking some poke from Geo, forced to jump away. Paradiddle a bit aggressive with his positioning as well, but one noob is on the backside with a chance to rotate in. Damage from Rampage goes into Paradiddle. Still nothing coming from it. We've hit a bit of a lull here between these two teams, just a bit.
It's almost like a gentleman's agreement in a joust match where like, okay, there's no defensive items, no jungling.
Right.
No thorns.
Just see who gets the tower first in those 1v1s that we see. A lot of damage though. Going the way of the one noob. Forced to use Earth and Fury. That was not ideal for that usage. Paradiddle just barely makes it back out of there. Not able to find very much damage as Jimmy. Earth and Fury going to be down here in a moment. A big team fighting ultimate won't be available.
Not able to find anything quite yet until he jumps back in.
Can't find the
Seal
back.
with the bleed.
That was huge because Paradiddle was trying to find the back, but Seal shuts it down. Now it's a 5v4 in favor of Mashi Boys. Even without the ultimate, they've got the man advantage and they're ready to pull the Gold Fury. Sikkim hits two members on the top side, while on the backside, Jimmy gets controlled and deleted. Rampage blows him up with the Rainfire. They don't even need the Gold Fury if they're just going to win the fight this cleanly. Trying to escape his Sir Eclipse on the right-hand side, but he's getting chased down. No dash available, forced to use I'm a Monster.
He has a lot of mobility there, but the bombs over the wall! The tier 2 tower won't save you there. 4 dead members from Loyal. Only Kirib here right around the corner, and he's going to have to roll away.
And that starts with Seoul not allowing Paradiddle to back, finding that pick, blowing up the solo laner. That's a free tier 1 tower, a free 4 kills, all going the way of Mashu Boys. And I think they might want themselves a Gold Fury too. They're going to come into the store, see what's on display, and yeah, I want this one right here. Gold Fury, that's mine every day of the week.
Just a clean team fight. Up in the sky was Kirib, not in time to snatch that one away, and like a little roller coaster ride of emotions and gold and experience. Loyal not able to really make it happen. Masha Boys swinging it back in their favor.
It's the pendulum, man. This set has been a pendulum, and the question all set long since we started has been, where is it eventually going to stop? Right now, it's swung back in Mashu Boy's favor, but it could certainly swing back down, and Loyal could regain control. They've been doing a good job playing around Sir Eclipse so far. They need a little bit of better setup for him, though.
That's true. Loyal doesn't really have the best setup if I think about it now. It's Geo that has an ultimate, a slow, very difficult to land paralyzing spit.
Yeah.
Jimmy has no setup minus a slow from his vampire bats. Paradiddle has a huge AoE knockoff. But other than that, there is no great non-ultimate ability to set up Eclipse. Except himself, the root.
Yeah, and you talked about before, having it up often is important as Paradiddle's brought low and he's getting controlled. No shortage of setup on the side of Machi Boys, and hitting home right now is going to be the Hunter, who's been finding plenty of damage as Kamiru. Now they're going to turn towards this Pyromancer and bring it down quite easily with one noob and Minishima forming a front line for him. And they're posturing around this Fire Giant as well.
That's true. They got another Pyromancer here, able to extend their goal lead here by about 3,000 gold. Still zoning out is the one noob. It's important for a Terra to be that far offensive, looking for those dash through the monolith just to guarantee the root.
Kamiru sent a couple shots at the Fire Giant, but I don't think they actually want it. Jump is going to be on cooldown, but Stygia and Torment, that's going to control Minishima. The damage and the stunner there as well. Now the knockup comes out from Paradiddle. They've committed a lot, but they still have not been able to find the kill just yet. I'm a Monster, not going to land from Sir Eclipse, but they are going to find the damage on the Seoul. He's down.
He's going to be able to get taken out here without the jungler. The rest of Masha Boys playing 4-on-5. Kamiru takes out one, Jimmy taking out another. It's a 2-for-1 trade.
Double kill for Kamiru, but he eventually is able to escape. Sir Eclipse takes down Minishima. It's 3-for-2, still in favor of Loyal so far. And it was Mashi Boys like they were in a good position. Now a chance to even these numbers right back out as the one noob is here to help out Kamiru a little bit. Sir Eclipse rotates on the backside. He was looking for damage.
Uh-oh, the bait into the counter bait. Kamiru needs to run away here. The crush sealing the fate of the Jingwei.
There was no help. Sir Eclipse has been playing so aggressively all game long. Not afraid to use the Sentinel offensively to try and find picks.
Oh, that's so troll. That is so troll. Just dropping the monolith on top of the backed enemy. Not even using the clapping wall to get the stun.
if you like disrupt them or move them a little bit,
Yep.
it disrupts the back. Amir can do it with his wall too. If he can get right underneath you. I mean, there's a couple ones that
On her.
Yeah, on her that can just disrupt you when you're backing without even damaging you.
It's always funny to do that. To the enemy, though.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
do
not
that to
funny
your
at all.
allies. Don't do that to your allies that are backing. It's like, oh, you're backing? Let me wall you real quick.
That's like a Tom thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's totally Tom.
Written all over it.
That should be
Tom,
a hit,
that
hit
and,
show.
and committing some kind of crimes. Isn't he always? He's doing it the other day too. Why is he always going to come back to crime with him, man?
This is Tom. Totally Tom.
Yeah. Is that the show?
Yeah,
Totally
that's the
Tom?
show. Totally Tom.
I'd watch that show. I mean, maybe like the first episode, see if it's okay.
We got to make a pilot episode for Esports Weekly.
Spring is
Of Totally Tom. Where he just like invests with people and giggles, I guess. Yeah, that'll be the play. But man, Sir Eclipse. Can we talk enough about this guy on this Scylla? He's been playing aggressively. We talk about how there's no setup, so he's just doing it himself half the times. He missed the I'm a Monster in that fight on Seoul, but if you look at the damage he put out, the kills he got, you wouldn't even know he missed it.
And the thing is, even without I'm a Monster, she has 2 more ultimate abilities. It's almost like Habwa. She has 1 less ultimate than a Habwa does.
The root is the Sikkim, once it's leveled up, that's disgusting. It can
Yeah.
hit multiple members and spread around. If you're near a minion wave, I don't even have to hit you. I can just hit the wave that's near you. It's very strong for control. The crush is huge. So is the I'm a Monster. Sir Eclipse really putting on a clinic with this Scylla so far, and Loyal very much still in this one.
But the thing is, if he doesn't get off to that kind of momentum, then Loyal are just going to crumble because of the sheer control from Mashu Boys between the Terra here and the Agni Bomb stuns. Then you got the mobility here from Minishima on this Amaterasu that's getting to the late game here. Doesn't have too much cooldown reduction here in the build, so it's not going to be able to stand switch as often as she would like, but definitely having the survivability with this Mergardian male.
Has to run away to Geo. Whole lot of people wearing blue nearby, so he does not want to see that. We've hit yet another small lull here at the 28-minute mark, where Loyal have been able to stall out Moshi Boys. They can't find a clean enough win in these fights to feel comfortable going for the Fire Giant just yet.
I can't find it quite yet. One noob going to bait himself out, but obviously Loyal not going to full-on commit to level 20 Terra here in the solo lane with almost a full build. I like the Lotus Ground pickup as well because of that healing over time ultimate from Earth and Fury now.
But look at all these selfish relics we're seeing so far. Not to say that the team is selfish, but we don't see a whole bunch of, you know, like frenzies, or there's one shell, a couple sprints thrown in there. But for the most part, I mean, I'm looking specifically at like our junglers, solo laners.
Wow.
It's very much blink and engagement focused, as already a bunch of damage comes on the Rampage.
Rampage at about 40 to 50% health just from 2 abilities of Sir Eclipse. Could get hit yet again here. Needs to avoid the crush. Will use the Aegis to do so.
Beads are going to be on cooldown as well. All of the relics have been forced out from Rampage. He's a bit of a sitting duck now, as Geo thinks about a bit poke as well. Rampage finds good damage on the Kirip over the wall. Now it's Loyal who are forced into a bit of a retreat, or as I say that, Geo pushes in. The crits are coming out from Crip as well, but Mashu Boys are the ones at the healthy health bars, and they're not afraid to make a bit of a counter surge as Jimmy takes the 1v1 on the left-hand side. Sprint comes out. They want to chase down the back.
He's not too worried, though. He still has the ultimate. He even healed from those mid-harpies. It's the one noob that's without a dash. They could easily
I'm a
go on
monster.
him.
Does not find anyone yet again. Looking for those I'm a Monsters with no setup and not able to find them. How much would it turn these fights around if Sir Eclipse could land one of those onto a low health target? Looks like he's going into a Soul Reaver next, so he's only going to chunk more.
Definitely a possibility here with the back here from Seal. I don't know if he got spotted out there, but this Pyromancer is available. 5 members, relatively healthy here from Loyal. Not too much mana on the side of Jimmy to spam those abilities. He might want to back soon. Or he'll find a kill. Never mind.
Rampage is gone, and that's a lot of Mashu Boys' damage that they're not going to have anymore. Pyromancer going the way of Loyal, and now they're looking towards the Fire Giant as well, and they don't even have Sir Eclipse or Jimmy here. They've got all the damage they need in the form of Kirip. Fire Giant's down to about half health.
They know.
And there is the defense here from Mashu Boys. They realize it's happening, but can they make it in time? Now the dash come out from Minishima. They're going to go in and try and steal this one away, but Loyal have already claimed the Fire Giant.
They're trying to find more here. Minishima gets taken out from Paradiddle. Gonna slow out Seal as well. I don't think his pounce is available, but they're focusing out the one noob instead of the Bastet.
Now looking for one noob, finally. The disengage is coming out from Mashu Boys. Jimmy jumps in. Blink comes out from Paradiddle, but no immediate follow-up. trying to see if they can land the stun. That won't land near her, but Karup doesn't even need it. Finds the shots, and one noob gets taken off the map.
Look at Eclipse.
5v2.
Look at Eclipse. He goes into the Sentinel through the wall here. He buys enough time with the Aegis, but he sacrifices his own life now, trying to find Kamiru. Will force out the Aegis. Keep in mind, Rampage just now respawning.
I don't know about that one, Sir Eclipse. I'm sure Loyal would like to have their mid-mage, but Jimmy does find Kamiru, sets up a double kill for himself. It's a 4 rather, up against 1, as only Rampage is alive. Phoenix on the right-hand side, certainly going to come down.
Oh, are they going to kill this Agni
They
as well?
got him.
It's a deicide. Minishima respawning in 2 seconds. They might be able to end here, Finch.
They're certainly going to give it a try. Only Minishima's alive for another 20 seconds. Can he defend 1 up against 4? Well, it's 1 against 3. He takes down Paradiddle. Half health now for the Titan. They've got plenty of damage in terms of Kira.
This
And they're
Titan.
putting it in onto the Titan.
The Titan. It's getting lower. Loyal. They get the victory.
Loyal are able to find it in set 3. Mashu boys have looked strong so far, but all of that international experience finally coming to fruition for Loyal. They stick it out and are able to take the set.
They break the curse. They
Finally.
kept losing to Masha boys in Phase 1, week number 4. They're in the semifinals. Phase 2, week 3, and now finally here finding a victory. They definitely are going to feel great about this one.
Well, let's take a look back at the path that was taken here to get Loyal all the way to their victory. They were able to finally clean up against Mashu boys. It was not made easy for the boys of Loyal at all. They had a tough time against Get On My Level in the semifinals, a tough time with Mashu boys in the finals, but hey, that's what makes champs, man. You got to be able to slug it out.
That's true. Get On My Level was actually in the finals there of Phase 1, week 4 there, and then just barely not making it this time around, losing to the finalists.
Well, that's SMITE Global Series for you. A successful phase comes out there for Loyal, but we've actually got tons more SMITE action for you. We're going to be going almost directly into the SPL here next. It's going to be Europe. We've got a full day of huge action. This is their last day for Europe, actually. This is going to determine who's going to land. So you're going to want to make sure that you stick around right here, mixer.com/SMITE game, to see who wins that one as well, Toby.
I'm excited to see all this European SPL action.
There's going to be tons to look at. And who's up there at the top right now? I think it's Rival Energy. They're in the top 2 spots.
Rival Energy and Dignitas. They're all battling to try to get into the LAN.
Dignitas certainly can end up taking that one for them as well. But that's going to do it here for us with the Global Series. SPL is going to be coming at you next.